Chapter 1352. Chapter 1352. Danger. Poof, 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 poof. With a flash of golden light, the 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns were enveloped by the golden light and disappeared into the altar. The 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns were gone, but Di Wubar and the rest spurted out a mouthful of blood and their auras weakened. In order to send the 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns into the city, Di Wubar and the rest suffered quite a bit of injuries. Although these injuries were not fatal, they had a great impact on them. Almost everyone's battle prowess had dropped by a level. Di Wubar and Jin Xiong's battle prowess was no longer at the level of a lesser heavenly sovereign. They could only display the strength of a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. As for Daoist Duanlong and Fairy Yunxi, they could only display the strength of a late 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Soon, Di Wubar and the rest sat on the boulders and began to recuperate. Whoosh. Inside the city of the Void Secret Realm, the originally calm altar shone with golden light once again. When the golden light dissipated, a group of people tore through the void and slowly walked out of the altar. After escaping from the palace, Ningyu happened to be around the altar. Ningyu knew that there must be someone waiting for him outside the altar, so he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he found a quiet house and waited inside. It's a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign. Ningyu and Jin Lan spoke at almost the same time. After saying that, Ningyu and Jin Lan's faces turned gloomy. 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns appeared at the same time. On their side, the scar-faced Berserk Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf were also fatally injured. Even if they weren't injured, the scar-faced Berserk Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf were no match for the 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Whoosh! Suddenly, the 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns on the altar spread out. What should we do now? After the 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns left, Jin Lan let out a long breath and asked. Nothing. Ningyu rolled his eyes and went to the scar-faced bloodthirsty Frenzy Wolf and the ferocious Frenzy Wolf to check their injuries. The dark gold profound tiger was very strong. Even though the scarred bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf were working together, they were still unable to gain the upper hand. Very troublesome. His perception lingered on the scar-faced bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf and the others for a while. Ningyu frowned. Do I need to waste a drop of sovereign blood essence? In the immortal Dan Hall, Ningyu obtained a drop of sovereign blood essence. He had obtained the second drop of sovereign blood essence from Di Chang in the hall. Originally, Ningyu had left these 2 drops of Supreme Being blood essence for his own use. However, the current situation had left him feeling depressed. Relax your minds. I'll give you a drop of the Supreme Being's blood essence. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu decided to give Scarface and Bloodthirsty Mad Wolf a drop of Supreme Blood Essence. No matter what, they were injured because of him. So if he didn't give them a drop of Supreme Being's blood essence, Ningyu wouldn't be able to live with himself. Are you sure you want to give us a drop of Supreme Being's blood essence? Hearing Ningyu's words, the scar-faced bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf widened their eyes with disbelief on their faces. The Sovereign Being's blood essence was a treasure. Although they had suffered heavy injuries, it was natural in their eyes. They were already under Ningyu's control, and their survival depended on Ningyu's will. Initially, when they were injured, they were already prepared to die slowly. So even if Ningyu took out a drop of sovereign blood essence, they wouldn't believe it. They felt that Ningyu was trying to trick them. Why are you talking so much? The reason why I'm giving you guys the sovereign blood essence is so that you can help me kill my enemies. Ningyu revealed an impatient expression as he waved his hand. Relax your minds, or I'll change my mind. Okay, we'll relax our minds now. Hearing Ningyu's words, the scar-faced bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. The Supreme Being's blood essence was simply too timely for them right now. Whoosh, whoosh. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu split the drop of sovereign blood essence he snatched from Di Chang into 2 drops. One flew towards the scar-faced bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the other towards the ferocious Berserk Wolf. How could the scar-faced bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious Mad Wolf dare to delay? They immediately sat down and began to absorb the sovereign blood essence. Whoosh, As the blood essence entered their stomachs, the two bloodthirsty mad wolves' bodies shone with a golden light. The injuries and broken bones in their bodies healed at a visible speed. At this rate, it would only take an hour at most for the two bloodthirsty mad wolves to recover to their peak state. They might even have the chance to advance further and break through to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. The scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others were pinnacle 6th grade Earth sovereigns and had been in this realm for many years. Now, with the impact of the sovereign blood essence, they vaguely felt an urge to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Not good. The two bloodthirsty mad wolves' actions caused Ning Yu's expression to change drastically. It wasn't that Ning Yu didn't want them to advance, but that there would definitely be a huge reaction if they advanced here. The 4 7th grade Earth sovereigns hadn't gone far. If they all came back, the consequences would be unimaginable. Law of space, quickly seal this area. Don't let anyone discover anything, Ning Yu said in a deep voice and hurriedly ordered the law of space. I can only seal this area for half an hour. Any longer and I won't be able to hold on. The law of space replied. Whoosh. Then, with Ning Yu and the others as the center, the entire area was sealed. Half an hour. Ning Yu frowned and looked at the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others. To be honest, they might not be able to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm in half an hour. But since things had come to this, Ning Yu had no choice but to wait quietly. However, Ning Yu wasn't the kind of person who would sit still and wait. While waiting, he tried to contact the sapling. The sapling was a special existence, and it might have a solution. However, Ning Yu was disappointed. No matter how he called, the sapling didn't respond. Forget it, I'll deal with it when it comes. I hope these two bloodthirsty mad wolves can advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm in half an hour. Shaking his head, Ning Yu chose to close his eyes and wait quietly. Drip, drip. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 20 minutes had passed. 20 minutes wasn't a long time, but it wasn't short either. After 20 minutes of hard work, the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious mad wolf had recovered to their peak state and were trying to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. On the surface, the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf was faster and had the highest chance of advancing to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm in half an hour. As for the ferocious mad wolf, it was a little dangerous. Bang! After another 5 minutes, a muffled sound came from the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Chapter 1353. Expose. When the scarred wolf advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, 4 other 7th grade Earth Sovereigns stopped in their tracks with their brows knitted. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns that were chosen to enter the giant city all had some ability. Although the space around Ning Yu was sealed by the law of space, they still noticed the commotion caused by the scarred wolf's advancement. Let's go. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns flew in Ning Yu's direction. In the blink of an eye, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns appeared outside the room where Ning Yu was. I can sense that someone has advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns exchanged a look and saw the shock in each other's eyes. A brief moment later, the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan said, "It seems that the city is dangerous. Why don't we join forces and drag that person out?" I agree. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace agreed without hesitation. When they entered the city, the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace was already in the hall and handed a drop of sovereign blood essence to the dark golden mystic tiger. The dark golden mystic tiger was currently recovering, and it wouldn't take long for it to return to the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. At that time, who in the city could be their opponent? The Divine Emperor Palace was destined to enjoy the fortune in the city. The 7th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Broken Dragon Valley and 100 Flowers Palace did not speak. No one knew if they agreed or disagreed. Damn it. Seeing the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns, Ning Yu's face turned extremely ugly. Even if the scarred wolf had advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, he still couldn't win against the 4 of them. Judging from the current situation, he could only have a chance of winning if he advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm as well. After all, humans and demonic beasts had the same cultivation, but humans were at an absolute disadvantage. I'll go lure them away. The scarred berserk wolf knew the severity of the problem and said in a deep voice, as long as I lure the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns away, the berserk wolf will definitely be able to advance to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm. Be careful. After thinking about it, Ningyu agreed to the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf. Rather than waiting for death, he might as well think of a way to lure the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns away with the scarred berserk wolf to buy time for the ferocious berserk wolf. Roar. The scarred wolf did not hesitate. He roared at the sky and tore through the void, wanting to charge into the distance. Poochie. However, as soon as the scarred wolf tore through the void, it spat out a mouthful of blood. This is bad. Ningyu's heart sank when he saw the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf spurting blood. Demonic beasts could not stay in the giant city. The reason why the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf could stay in the giant city for such a long time was due to the help of the law of space. It could be said that without the law of space, the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf would have been killed by the array in the giant city. Now that the scarred wolf wanted to lure the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns away, it was a huge mistake. Rumble. In an instant, with the scarred wolf as the center, several pillars of light rose from the surroundings. Whoosh. The pillars of light intertwined and enveloped the entire area. An array. At this moment, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns couldn't help exclaiming with shock on their faces. They were the upper echelons of their respective sects, so they more or less knew what was going on in the giant city. Someone must have triggered some kind of restriction and caused the array to appear. Huff. In the void, Ningyu looked at the scarred bloodthirsty wolf standing beside him and let out a long sigh. At the critical moment, the law of space suddenly went berserk and sucked the scarred wolf into the void, hiding it. There were only 5 minutes left until the half-an-hour time limit set by the law of space. At the very least, the scarred wolf and the others would not be discovered within these 5 minutes. They are trapped in the array. Do we have a chance to kill them all? After calming down, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and asked, Law of space, take the scarred wolf and approach the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns from the Jin family and Emperor Palace and give them a fatal blow. Since they had already offended the Jin family and Emperor Palace, they would kill as many as they could. If they killed one, they would break even. If they killed 2, they would make a profit. Kill my ass. The law of space snappily said, if I hadn't appeared in time, the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf would have been killed long ago. Also, we have to hide our auras while protecting the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf. We'll be discovered in 3 minutes at most. Ningyu's face darkened and he had the urge to curse. Right now, they were still trapped in the spiritual array. Wouldn't that mean that they would be exposed to the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns outside after 3 minutes? What I care about is whether the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf will be teleported out of the city. Ningyu voiced out his concern. Once the scarred wolf and the others were teleported out, Ningyu would be finished. As long as they were not teleported out, Ningyu still had hope. At least, he could fight them. Don't worry, they won't be teleported out of the city. The law of space said, if you don't hide your aura now, I can order the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf to attack. Don't. Let's wait for a while. What if the ferocious wolf brings me a surprise? Ningyu waved his hand to stop the law of space from acting recklessly. Poochie. 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 At the very least, the situation of the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns was much worse than that of Ningyu. Under the powerful pressure of the array, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, let me blast it away. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan cursed inwardly and pushed out his right hand, trying to blast the array. Wait. Before the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan punched out, the other 3 7th grade Earth Sovereigns hurriedly said, the array is unstable. We can only endure it. We can't blast it. If we don't blast the array, are we just going to wait to be tortured to death? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan, Jin Fu, was furious. They had entered the city to investigate why the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan were killed. Who would have thought that they would be trapped in the array before they could find anything? Do you want more arrays to appear? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace, Di Qiong, said in a cold tone, I'm sure you know better than me why this city appeared. For me. Of course I know. Jin Fu snorted coldly and did not continue speaking. Instead, he rolled his eyes and no one knew what he was thinking. I've already investigated this array. As long as we can stay inside for 3 minutes, they will naturally disappear. A moment later, Jin Fu said, I suspect that the one who just advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign is a human who stayed in the city a long time ago. Crack. Chapter 1354. Chapter 1354. Chapter 1354 Tribulation Rumble. Space trembled and a terrifying aura soared into the sky. Sensing this terrifying aura, Jin Fu and the others' expressions changed drastically. Then, a colossal creature appeared in the void. Bloodthirsty mad wolf. Jin Fu's eyes widened when he saw the colossal creature. It's a 7th grade Earth Supreme bloodthirsty mad wolf. But soon, Jin Fu's face was filled with joy. Jin Fu knew that the Jin clan had subdued the bloodthirsty mad wolf clan in the void secret realm and left a seal in their bodies. As long as the seal was triggered, the bloodthirsty mad wolves in the void secret realm would die on the spot. Maybe I can use these bloodthirsty mad wolves to deal with Di Chong and the rest. With a thought, Jin Fu came to a decision. Although he looked shocked on the surface, his heart was in contact with the bloodthirsty mad wolf. I'm one of the higher-ups of the Jin clan. I need your help. Jin Fu's tone left no room for doubt. He said in a deep voice, you will deal with Di Chong. Do everything you can to kill him. The bloodthirsty mad wolf was slightly stunned when it heard Jin Fu's words. Then, it shifted its gaze to Ning Yu. The reason why Jin Fu could see the bloodthirsty mad wolf was that he had just broken through to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm, which caused the space to become unstable. As for Ning Yu, the scarred mad wolf, and the rest, they were still hidden in the void and had not been discovered. Try to get close to Jin Fu first. Ning Yu said. There were still 3 minutes before he was exposed anyway. 3 minutes was neither a long nor a short time. At the very least, he could let the bloodthirsty mad wolf get close to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm and deal a fatal blow. Understood. The bloodthirsty mad wolf nodded. Oh, the expert from the Jin clan will definitely trigger the seal in your body. As soon as he does, I'll inform you immediately. You should know what to do. Ning Yu reminded. The reason why Jin Fu communicated with the bloodthirsty mad wolf was because he thought that there was still a seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. Before heavily injuring Jin Fu, he could not expose himself. Otherwise, all his efforts would be in vain. Di Chong, you are the strongest among the 4 of us. Why don't you deal with this bloodthirsty mad wolf? Jin Fu looked at Di Chong and said. Are you sure you're not joking? Di Chong asked coldly. Why don't you go? Di Chong was not a fool. After entering the city, they only had 3 chances to attack. There were very few opportunities. Every time he used one, there would be one less. Once the 3 chances were used up, they would definitely be teleported out. They hadn't found the good fortune yet, so no one wanted to go out now. How about this? Let's work together and take down this bloodthirsty mad wolf. As he spoke, Jin Fu stomped on the ground and charged at the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf. What the hell are they doing? Seeing Jin Fu's actions, Di Chong raised his brows. He had no idea what Jin Fu was up to. Although he was a little confused, Di Chong did not stay idle. His figure flashed and he followed closely behind Jin Fu. Are we going to make a move? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley asked as he looked at the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Flower Palace. Up to you. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Flower Palace was a woman named Cheng Ling. Forget it, let them have it. Seeing that Cheng Ling had no intention of making a move, the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley took a deep breath and said. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley was called Ji Hao. Ji Hao knew very well that the Broken Dragon Valley, the Jin family, and the Emperor Palace all had enmity with each other. If Daoist Duanlong knew that he wanted to help Jin Fu and the others, he would probably execute him on the spot. Di Chong, I'll give you the beast core of this 7th grade Earth Supreme bloodthirsty wild wolf. I want its body. Although they had not fought with the ferocious mad wolf, Jin Fu had already started to bargain with Di Chong. It seemed that the ferocious mad wolf would definitely be killed by them. Deal. Di Chong was very careful. He was always half a beat behind Jin Fu. In fact, Di Chong had also heard that the Jin family had controlled a group of bloodthirsty mad wolves in the Void Secret Realm. This information was confidential, and Di Chong only knew about it by chance. If he did not know about it, he would have already made a move. It seems that Di Chong is not very convinced. Jin Fu frowned slightly and immediately rushed out. As Jin Fu rushed out, he slightly activated the seal in the ferocious mad wolf's body. All the higher-ups of the Jin family knew how to activate the seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. However, Jin Fu only activated it slightly and didn't fully activate it. Buzz. As soon as Jin Fu activated the seal in the ferocious mad wolf's body, Ningyu passed the news to the ferocious mad wolf. The ferocious mad wolf was very cooperative. Its body started to shake and its consciousness became a little fuzzy. At the same time, the ferocious mad wolf angrily transmitted a message to Jin Fu. What is the meaning of this? Nothing. I just want to confirm it. Jin Fu was a little worried at first, but after seeing the ferocious mad wolf's actions, he finally felt relieved. Bang! Jin Fu clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the ferocious mad wolf's body. A crisp sound was heard, and the ferocious mad wolf was sent flying. Swoosh! Jin Fu rushed out again, not giving the ferocious mad wolf a chance to counterattack. Roar! The ferocious mad wolf raised its head and roared angrily as it looked at Jin Fu, who was approaching it. Your acting is quite good. Not bad. Hearing the ferocious mad wolf's roar, Jin Fu was very satisfied. This was the result he wanted. Di Chong, what are you waiting for? Jin Fu shouted and turned around to call for Di Chong as he attacked the ferocious mad wolf. Now's the time. The ferocious mad wolf's eyes lit up. It swept its tail, bringing with it a violent yuan qi gale as it attacked Jin Fu. Not good. Jin Fu was not a fool. As soon as the ferocious mad wolf attacked, he realized that something was wrong and hurriedly activated the seal. However, no matter how Jin Fu activated the seal, the ferocious mad wolf did not react. In fact, Jin Fu did not dodge because he wanted to activate the seal. Smack! The tail hit Jin Fu's neck and made a circle. The ferocious mad wolf exerted its strength and threw Jin Fu far away, causing him to hit the edge of the array. Rumble! The array in the giant city was there to restrict people who did not follow the rules. Jin Fu had just crashed into the array when the void beside him suddenly split open. A huge palm appeared and forcefully dragged him in. Hiss! The sudden change caused everyone present, including Ningyu who was in the sky, to gasp. That palm, the cultivation of its owner was at least at the Sky Supreme stage. For a moment, all the martial artists in the area held their breath. No one dared to speak. A moment later, a powerful voice broke the silence. Chapter 1355. The last 3 hours. As soon as the voice stopped, the surroundings became silent again. Crack! Not long after, the formation surrounding Di Chong and the others cracked open and disappeared completely. It was not until a long time after the formation disappeared that Di Chong and the others finally felt relieved. Gulp! Di Chong swallowed his saliva and said, "Senior, I would like to ask about Jin Fu. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask." A cold voice replied to Di Chong, "You only have 3 hours. After 3 hours, all of you will be teleported out of the city and the secret land of emptiness will be sealed for 3 years. Di Chong shuddered and felt a little scared. The reason why Di Chong asked was that he wasn't sure about the attitude of the person in the void. Now, it seemed that the person in the void was very domineering and didn't want to talk to him. "You. Why do you look so familiar?" After a while, Di Chong's gaze finally stopped on Ningyu. "Sorry, we don't know each other." Since Di Chong had noticed him, Ningyu took a step forward and shrugged. "If you want to attack me, I'll take it." Although there were the scarred and ferocious wolves here, Ningyu didn't dare to be careless. If Di Chong joined forces with the other 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns, he would be in trouble. Moreover, there were more than a dozen pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns here, apart from the 3 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Moreover, There was a second-grade Earth Sovereign among those pinnacle ninth-grade Earth Sovereigns. Just these people alone were enough to make Ningyu suffer. "You're Ningyu." Suddenly, Di Chong seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, "I didn't expect to see you here." "Good, very good." Di Chong's gaze swept across the scarred berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf. He seemed to have understood something. "It seems that the deaths of the three peerless geniuses of the Emperor Palace are related to you." Di Chong looked at Ningyu and said, "Elder, their deaths are indeed related to Ningyu." At this time, Di Chong flew over from afar and landed beside Di Chong. Di Chong's eyes were filled with coldness. He gritted his teeth and said, "Ningyu not only killed the three geniuses of Emperor God Palace, but he also—" "Shut up." Di Chong slapped Di Chong and said angrily, "Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Let's go." As he spoke, Di Chong grabbed Di Chong's shoulder and dashed off into the distance. In fact, Ningyu was worried that Di Chong would join forces with the other two 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. How could Di Chong not be worried about this? Ningyu already had two 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolves on his side. If two more 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm humans joined the fray, he would definitely die today. After all, the mysterious man had said that the giant city was completely open to them. They could do whatever they wanted inside without worrying about triggering the formation. In this case, Di Chong had more concerns and had to flee first. Just wait and see. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger will soon recover to the 6th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. At that time, all of you will die. The direction in which Di Chong fled was the hall where the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger was. The sovereign blood essence had been given to the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger. After a while, the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger would recover to the 6th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Di Chong had nothing to fear. "Let's go." Ji Hao waved his hand and rushed away with the 4 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns from the Broken Dragon Valley. Di Chong was worried that Ningyu would attack him, and so was Ji Hao. Those were two 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolves. Ji Hao didn't have the strength to fight against them. "Let's go." Cheng Ling glanced at Ningyu, then her figure flashed, wanting to leave. "Please wait." Before Cheng Ling could take a few steps, Ningyu hurriedly said, "I have something to ask you." Swish. The speaker did not mean it, but the listener did. Ningyu's words made Cheng Ling's face turn gloomy. Apart from Cheng Ling, the 4 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace also had ugly expressions. When the Divine Emperor Palace martial artists left, Ningyu didn't stop them. When the Broken Dragon Valley martial artists left, Ningyu didn't stop them either. Now it was the 100 Flowers Palace's turn, but they were stopped. Could it be that Ningyu thought they were easy to bully? Don't misunderstand. Can we talk in private? Seeing the change in Cheng Ling's expression, Ningyu didn't have to think to know that they were furious. "I want to know about the Palace Master of the 100 Flowers Palace." Seeing that Cheng Ling was indifferent, Ningyu had no choice but to send a soul message, "Maybe I can help the 100 Flowers Palace get through this." Thump. Hearing Ningyu's words, Cheng Ling's heart skipped a beat. The 100 Flowers Palace was in big trouble. The Palace Master was trapped in a place and was suspected to have died. In the huge 100 Flowers Palace, a large number of elders and disciples had sided with mysterious powerhouses. Of course, only the 100 Flowers Palace knew about this. Outsiders wouldn't know about it. How did Ningyu know about it? Did he really have a way to help the 100 Flowers Palace? Thinking of this, Cheng Ling moved her feet and walked towards Ningyu. "Elder, please reconsider." Although they didn't know what Ningyu said to Cheng Ling, the 4 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace still stopped Cheng Ling when they saw her actions. In the entire 100 Flowers Palace, there weren't many elders who were still loyal to the Palace Master. Other than Fairy Yun Shi, who was outside the Void Secret Realm, only Cheng Ling and a few elders chose to stand on the Palace Master's side. If Cheng Ling died, it would be a huge loss to the 100 Flowers Palace. "It's fine." Cheng Ling was fearless. She moved her feet and arrived before Ningyu in the blink of an eye. "If you can't satisfy me, I'll kill you." Cheng Ling stared into Ningyu's eyes and said in a deep voice. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. To be honest, Ningyu could see the vicissitudes of life, coldness, and killing intent in Chengling's eyes. Could it be that the 100 Flowers Palace was really at a moment of life and death? Or rather, the palace master was at a complete disadvantage in the confrontation with the mysterious powerhouse, causing most of the 100 Flowers Palace to fall. And the Chengling in front of him was one of the fallen martial artists. All sorts of doubts appeared in Ningyu's mind, causing him to be at a loss. I want to know what's going on with the 100 Flowers Palace. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "Is the palace master having the upper hand, or is it the mysterious powerhouse?" Swoosh. Chengling's expression changed. She released her aura and frantically pressed towards Ningyu. "Tell me, what do you know?" Chengling berated. If Ningyu didn't say anything, she would kill Ningyu. "I know your palace master." Ningyu didn't back down. Instead, he stared into Chengling's eyes and said. Chengling's heart trembled. Not long ago, the palace master had secretly sent a voice transmission to Fairy Yunxi, asking her to go to the Thousand Leaf Empire to find a man called Ningyu. After finding Ningyu, she had to bring him to the Thousand Leaf Ridge. The palace master had also said that only Ningyu could help the 100 Flowers Palace. She had to be more respectful when she saw Ningyu. Chapter 1356. A hole. Let's talk somewhere else. Chengling's complexion improved a little when she thought that Ningyu might be the Ningyu that the palace master of the Centaurea Palace had mentioned. She took a deep breath and said, "If you're really the palace master's friend, we might be able to work together." Chengling stomped on the ground and flew into the distance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 4 pinnacle 9th grade earthly supremes behind Chengling didn't dare to be slow. They all used their spells and followed closely. "What do we do now?" Jinlan frowned when he saw Chengling and the others leaving. "Are we really going to follow them?" To be honest, Jinlan didn't believe Chengling's words. In his opinion, Chengling wanted them to follow because she wanted to set them up. After all, Chengling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Supreme with unfathomable strength. "Let's go." Ningyu was bold because of his skills. The scarred and ferocious wolves had already advanced to 7th grade Earth Supreme. With them by his side, Ningyu naturally had nothing to fear. Although Chengling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Supreme, it would still be difficult for her to fight 2 at once. Damn it! Jinlan cursed. He had no choice but to follow behind Ningyu. The giant city had released its restrictions on martial artists. It could be said that Jinlan was the weakest in the giant city. If she was replaced by a 9th grade earthly supremacy, she wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Therefore, following behind Ningyu was the best choice. Rustle. Chengling seemed to know a lot about the giant city. She led Ningyu and the others through the giant city and finally stopped in front of a slightly dilapidated house. "What is this place?" Ningyu frowned. He knew nothing about the giant city. Creak. Chengling didn't answer Ningyu's question. She pushed the door open and walked straight in. Ningyu wanted to ask something, but seeing Chengling's actions, he gave up and followed her. As soon as they entered the courtyard, Chengling stomped her right foot on the ground and took out a scroll and threw it in a specific direction. "Back off." After doing all this, Chengling took a few steps back and said. Ningyu was puzzled. He did not know what Chengling was up to. Rumble. Not long after, the scroll exploded, and the place where Chengling's right foot was standing suddenly caved in, revealing a huge hole. "Go." Chengling didn't say much. When the hole was completely formed, she was the first to jump in. Behind Chengling, 4 peak 9th grade human supreme martial artists followed closely. Since he was already here, there was no reason for Ningyu to retreat. Furthermore, ever since he was separated from Palatial Mistress Centaurea and the others, Ningyu wanted to know more about them as soon as possible. Cold. The first thing he felt when he entered the hole was cold. The second feeling was that it was extremely cold. This kind of cold was not an ordinary kind of cold. It was a kind of bone-chilling cold. Furthermore, the deeper they went, the colder it became. In the end, the 4 pinnacle 9th grade sovereigns of the Flower Palace had no choice but to stop. Even a peak 9th grade human supreme couldn't advance, let alone Jinlan. In fact, Not long after entering the hole, Jinlan already felt that it was difficult to move. If it wasn't for Ningyu protecting her, she would have long been frozen into an ice sculpture. Just how deep is this hole? Half an hour after entering the hole, even Ningyu started to have doubts. Chengling didn't seem to be affected as she walked forward step by step. As for Ningyu, he only managed to keep up with Chengling with the help of the scarred berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf. "We're here." Chengling's face was emotionless. "What is this place?" Ningyu was puzzled. The surroundings were as empty as the wilderness, and he couldn't see anything. Crack. As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, the space before him shattered. The void shattered, and in an instant, a figure walked out of the void. A heavenly sovereign. Even though Ningyu was prepared, he couldn't help but gasp when he sensed the powerful aura emanating from this figure. Although the figure was illusory, its strength had reached the terrifying heavenly sovereign realm. "What is it?" After the illusory figure appeared, it didn't look at Ningyu. Instead, it stared at Chengling and said, "Why did you disturb my sleep? Old ancestor, I'm here to tell you that the 100 Flowers Palace is at a moment of life and death." Chengling didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly replied respectfully. Chengling didn't make a sound. Instead, she transmitted her voice to the illusory figure. Clearly, Chengling didn't want Ningyu to hear her. "What?" No one knew what Chengling said, but the illusory figure's face turned extremely ugly when he heard her words. He coldly said, "This matter is very important. I need to report it to my superiors." Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, the illusory figure merged into the void and disappeared. Although the illusory figure had disappeared, Ningyu didn't dare to make any rash moves. If he offended a heavenly sovereign, only death awaited him. No one could save him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not long after, something that shocked Ningyu happened. In the void, several terrifying senses surged out and entered Chengling's mind. "Don't resist." The illusory figure appeared again and said, "This matter is extremely important. Everyone needs to understand the situation." Without the illusory figure speaking, Chengling didn't dare to act rashly. Every single one of the perception that appeared later was stronger than the illusory figure. Chengling didn't want to provoke them, because it wouldn't end well for her if she did. It really is them. Chapter 1357. Surrounded again. "Don't worry, it's nothing." "The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate said with a wave of his hand. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate murmured, if the ancestor hadn't been injured, how could the 100 Flowers Palace have fallen to such a state? Although the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate's voice was very soft, Ningyu's sharp hearing still caught it. "I will repay this kindness with a gushing spring." Ningyu cupped his fists and said solemnly, "Good, I'm glad you think that way." The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate nodded. "I already know the memories in Chengling's mind. I have a few questions for you now. Please ask, Senior." Ningyu didn't dare to be negligent. "First, how did you meet the current palace master?" The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate asked. Although the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate acted very casually, Ningyu knew that the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate would definitely find out if he lied. Ningyu took a deep breath and organized his thoughts before speaking slowly. Ningyu only stopped after a full 10 minutes. In those 10 minutes, Ningyu told the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate how he met the palace master and how they fought side by side. However, Ningyu kept a secret. Ningyu didn't tell the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate about the soul guidance method. After all, the soul guidance method was very precious. In his previous life, he had only learned about it by chance. As strong as the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate was, she would definitely want to obtain the soul guidance method. Looks like the current palace master is in danger. From Ningyu's words, the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate could tell that the current palace master was in danger. If she couldn't control the mysterious powerhouse quickly, she would die. The 100 Flowers Palace outside the empty mystic realm was the last flame of their lineage. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate didn't want it to be extinguished. Sigh, against these people from the other side, the world tree is the #1 killing weapon. What a pity, what a pity. Heavenly Lord Manyflowers sighed softly, wanting to say something, but hesitated. The other side, World Tree. Ningyu felt a chill in his heart. He faintly felt that things weren't so simple. In his previous life, even though he was an Empyrean, he knew very little about these things. However, Ningyu's memory of the word foreign land was still fresh. He was also a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist, and an Earth Supreme expert came to him and begged him to refine a pill for him. Back then, Ningyu had heard bits and pieces of information from the Earth Sovereign powerhouse, such as being surrounded and being heavily injured. Now that he thought about it, it seemed that things were far from that simple. Ningyu, since the current palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace has chosen to trust you, then I trust you as well. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign's expression turned extremely solemn. She stared at Ningyu and said, I'm giving this to you. I hope you can save the 100 Flowers Palace. Swoosh. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign flicked her sleeves, and a golden box flew out and flew toward Ningyu. Smack. Stretching out his right hand, Ningyu firmly grasped the golden box in his hand. What is this? Ningyu frowned as he looked at the golden box in his hand. He wanted to split his perception to probe it. Don't open it now. Wait until you arrive at the 100 Flowers Palace and see the palace mistress and the other side's experts. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign stopped Ningyu and passed a chant to Ningyu. As long as you hold the golden box and recite the chant, you'll be able to open it. With that, the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign ignored Ningyu and turned to walk toward Chengling. Ningyu, let me see the box. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign had only taken a few steps when an anxious voice rang out in Ningyu's mind. There was no doubt that it was a sapling. Don't make a fuss. Ningyu's heart jolted as he immediately transmitted his voice to the sapling. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign is powerful. What if she finds out? It's fine. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign isn't here. This is just a projection of her. The sapling clearly did not put Ningyu's words to heart. Projection. Ningyu's heart trembled as he looked at the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign. But when he looked at it, Ningyu was dumbfounded. The sapling was right. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign was just a projection, and the power that she could bring out was far from the Heavenly Sovereign realm. At best, she was only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. At this moment, Ningyu understood everything. It was no wonder why the old woman did not make a move against him. She must be afraid of the two wolves. Otherwise, the Emperor Palace would definitely kill him with the enmity between them. What's in the golden box? Ningyu took a deep breath and began to communicate with the sapling. What else could it be? The branch of the world tree that can restrain the experts of the other world. The sapling shook its branches and said, I can feel that if I devour the branch in the golden box, I can raise my strength to the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign realm. After awakening, the sapling's fighting strength had reached the pinnacle 2nd grade Earth Sovereign realm. Don't mess around. The branch of the world tree in the golden box is for the experts of the other world, Ningyu said in a deep voice. He would naturally not let the sapling mess around. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign was still here. Even if it wanted to devour the branch, it could not do so now. At the very least, it could wait until the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign left. Let's go. Before the conversation between Ningyu and the sapling ended, Chengling turned around and walked out of the hole with a cold expression. Go! Seeing Chengling's action, Ningyu was a little stunned and quickly shifted his gaze to the other side. In Ningyu's eyes, Heavenly Venerate Manyflowers had already vanished without a trace. Chengling did not want to wait for Ningyu. She stomped on the ground and quickly dashed out. Rumble. What happened next made Ningyu speechless. As soon as Chengling left, the hole began to collapse. Starting from the inside, it gradually collapsed, and the speed of the collapse was getting faster and faster. Let's go. There was no way Ningyu would stay and wait for death. He leaped onto the back of the scarred wolf and let it carry him toward the exit of the hole. Fortunately, the hole was not very deep. Before long, Ningyu and the others left the hole. I'm going to die. After leaving the hole, Ningyu's eyes widened and he could not help but curse. That was because there were 3 figures standing side by side in front of him. Those 2 figures were very familiar to Ningyu. One of them was Di Chong from the Divine Emperor Palace. For some reason, his cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm and he was only half a step away from the 8th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. As for the other figure, Ningyu had a deep memory of it. The dark golden mystic tiger. This dark gold profound tiger was the one that had fought against the two bloodthirsty berserk wolves. The only difference was that this dark golden mystic tiger was no longer a 5th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, but a pinnacle 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Chapter 1358. Chapter 1358, A Battle. Haha, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Seeing Ningyu and the rest emerge from the ground, the corner of Di Chong's lips rose. Ningyu, are you going to commit suicide, or do you want me to do it? Di Chong, he's someone I want to protect. Before Ningyu could speak, Cheng Ling took a step forth and stood before Ningyu. You have to ask for my opinion before you touch him. Seeing that Cheng Ling wanted to protect him, Ningyu was stunned before he revealed a shocked expression. Truth be told, Ningyu never thought that Cheng Ling would stand on his side. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign did not erase his memory and even gave him a golden box. According to the sapling, the box contained a branch of the world tree. But that didn't represent Cheng Ling's intention. Now that Cheng Ling wanted to protect him, he was surprised. Cheng Ling, your 100 Flowers Palace can't even take care of itself. I advise you to stay out of this. Di Chong's face was unsightly. I don't want to say the same thing twice. Cheng Ling's face was expressionless, and her attitude did not change. Why are you talking to them? Suddenly, the dark golden mystic tiger flung its lips and said proudly, I can feel that as long as I devour all of these humans, I can recover to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Rustle. The dark golden mystic tiger's words made the pinnacle 9th grade earthly sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace's faces turn ugly. The pinnacle 9th grade earthly sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace weren't fools. They could naturally sense how powerful the dark golden mystic tiger was. The strength of a 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm dark golden mystic tiger was extremely terrifying. It could basically be invincible among those in the same realm. So much so that it wouldn't be a problem for it to challenge those of a higher realm. Don't get cocky. The scarred berserk wolf took a step forth and coldly said. The scarred berserk wolf still remembered that he was defeated by the dark golden mystic tiger in the palace. Now that he had reached the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, he had to get back at it. Go. After exchanging glances with the ferocious berserk wolf, the scarred berserk wolf stomped on the ground and charged forward. The scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it came to the dark gold profound tiger. It clenched its right fist and punched the tiger. Insignificant skill. Facing the approaching fist, the dark gold mysterious tiger didn't care about it at all. It swung its tail at the scarred wolf. Bang! Bang! Without a doubt, the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf didn't last long under the powerful attacks of the dark gold profound tiger. Roar! Roar! Being defeated under everyone's gazes, especially after reaching the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, the scarred berserk wolf felt a little embarrassed. He roared at the sky and transformed into his true form, a giant bloodthirsty wolf. Seeing the scarred berserk wolf transform into its true form, the ferocious berserk wolf also transformed into its true form. Two huge bloodthirsty berserk wolves and a dark gold mystic tiger were fighting in the city. After transforming into his true form, the strength of the bloodthirsty berserk wolf had risen by several levels. Although it was still being suppressed, it wouldn't be so easy for it to be defeated. Cheng Ling, let's spar as well? Looking at the other battlefield, Di Chong revealed a cold expression between his brows. No problem. Cheng Ling cast a glance at Ningyu before she leaped out and fought with Di Chong. Shocking battles broke out in the two battlefields. Di Chong's strength was still formidable. Even if Cheng Ling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Sovereign, she still couldn't defeat Di Chong in a short period of time. Ha ha ha. Before the two battles came to an end, a burst of wild laughter resounded. Without a doubt, it must be Di Chong who let out that laughter. Back in the palace, Di Chong's 3 companions were killed by Ningyu, so he wanted to take revenge. You want to fight with me? Staring at Di Chang, Ningyu revealed an uncertain expression. Although I can still defeat you in a one-on-one fight, I don't like to fight alone. Di Chang shrugged and continued, come out. The reason why your Jin clan's 7th grade Earth Sovereign was taken away was all because of Ningyu's interference. Rustle. As Di Chang's voice rang out, the void shattered and a figure slowly walked out of it. 2nd grade Earth Sovereign? Looking at the silhouette that suddenly appeared, Ningyu was first stunned before he revealed a puzzled expression. Di Chang, this is the reinforcement that you've called for. MHM? Hearing Ningyu's words and Ningyu's expression, Di Chang was a little puzzled. Has he gone mad, or is his brain rusty? You're only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign, yet you're so calm facing a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Needless to say, your brain must be rusty. Looks like I'm destined to be enemies with the Jin clan. Ningyu spread out his hands and revealed a helpless expression. His expression seemed to be saying, I don't want to be enemies with you, but you insist on being enemies with me. You're courting death. Ningyu's expression thoroughly infuriated Di Chang and the Jin clan's 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Swish. Swish. The two of them stomped on the ground, one in front and one behind, and instantly rushed out. The Jin clan's 2nd grade Earth Sovereign was in front, while Di Chang was behind. We're here to help you. Seeing that Di Chang and the others were getting closer to Ningyu, the 4 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns braced themselves and said. Even their elder, Cheng Ling, wanted to protect Ningyu, so they had no other choice. No need. I can deal with these small fries by myself. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that they didn't have to do anything. Ningyu's words not only made the 4 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns speechless, but also the spectators in the distance were a little confused. It wouldn't be a big deal if you were a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. But you're only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. Facing a 9th grade Earth Sovereign and a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign, a 7th grade Earth Sovereign actually dared to say such a thing. They had to admit that he was very courageous. What's the background of this Ningyu? I'm not sure. He seems to have appeared out of nowhere. Let's see if he's a dragon or a worm. I'm a little on Ningyu's side. After all, the Jin clan and Divine Emperor Palace haven't done anything bad over the years. Everyone was talking at once. But most of them didn't think highly of Ningyu and thought that Ningyu was doomed. This Ningyu isn't simple. The only one who thought highly of Ningyu wasn't a human sovereign, but a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. Ji Hao of the Broken Dragon Valley. Ever since Ji Hao laid eyes on Ningyu, he knew that Ningyu wasn't simple and that he must be hiding some kind of secret. Elder, you seem to think highly of Ningyu, right? Seeing Ji Hao's expression, a cultivator of the Broken Dragon Valley asked in confusion. In this cultivator's opinion, Ningyu would definitely die. No one in the world could save Ningyu. After so many years, he had never seen a 7th grade Earth Sovereign who could fight against a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Could Ningyu do it? Chapter 1359. Chapter 1359. Killing one first. I can't say that I'm optimistic about him. I can only say that Ningyu is special. Ji Hao said as he waved his hand. Although he was optimistic about Ningyu, it wasn't convenient for him to say it out in front of so many people. Neither the Emperor Palace nor the Jin family could afford to offend the Broken Dragon Valley. In the Pellet Formation continent, going against the Jin family and the Emperor Palace wouldn't end well. On the surface, there wasn't much difference between the Broken Dragon Valley and the Jin family. But only a few people knew about the actual situation. Ji Hao was one of the few people who did. Ha ha ha, shameless. With a burst of laughter, the 2nd grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan clenched his fist and punched towards Ningyu. This expert from the Jin family had already reached the pinnacle 2nd grade Sovereign realm. His strength was unfathomable. He was one of the top geniuses in the Jin family. Looks like I don't have to do anything. Seeing the powerful attacks from the Jin clan, Di Chang instantly stopped and the corner of his lips rose. The strength of a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign isn't something that you can. What? However, before Di Chang could finish his words, his mouth was agape, and his face was filled with disbelief. Crack. When the fist of the pinnacle 2nd grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family was a finger away from Ningyu's head, a sudden change occurred. A green branch suddenly flew out from Ningyu's spatial ring and struck the fist of the second-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family. A crisp sound resounded. Everyone saw the second-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family rapidly retreating as if he had seen a ghost. "Where are you going?" The most shocking thing was yet to come. The second-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family wanted to escape. But Ningyu wouldn't allow that. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged out. He waved the red demonic sword in his hand and several sword rays flew out, slashing towards the second-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family. Rustle. Ningyu's action left everyone dumbfounded. Even Ji Hao was stunned on the spot and was speechless for a long time. Ji Hao knew that Ningyu was strong, but he didn't expect Ningyu to be this strong. That's a pinnacle second-grade sovereign realm human sovereign, and you've defeated him with a simple emerald green branch. If Ningyu knew what everyone was thinking, he would probably roll his eyes. A random dark green branch. This was probably the first time the sapling had been insulted so badly ever since it gained consciousness. Oh right. While charging towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign, Ningyu transmitted his voice to the sapling, "Won't you attract the attention of the 100 Flowers, Heavenly Sovereign and the rest?" To be honest, Ningyu was very worried. Even though the sapling had said that the true bodies of Heavenly Venerate Centaurea and the others weren't here, who wasn't afraid? Both Empyrean 100 Flowers and the old lady from God Emperor Palace were at the Sky Supreme realm. A single mishap might cause them to spy on him, and that would be a bit of a loss that outweighs the gains. It's fine. They can't even take care of themselves right now. How could they notice us? The sapling said indifferently, "I'm warning you. Leave as soon as you get rid of this small fry." Understood. Ningyu naturally knew the severity of the situation. In fact, Ningyu didn't need the sapling's reminder. He had already made up his mind. He would kill the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign, kill Di Chang, and then find a way to leave the city. As for fighting against the dark gold mystical tiger, what a joke. Didn't they see that Scarface and ferocious mystical wolves were already at a disadvantage? If they continued to fight, Scarface and ferocious mystical wolves would definitely be defeated or even killed. "Where are you going?" After realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ningyu instantly raised his speed to the limit and charged towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was originally very powerful and fast, but there was a gust of chi colliding in his body, making him a little exhausted. Damn it! The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign cursed inwardly and stopped. "Ningyu, don't go too far." The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign said coldly while suppressing the chi in his body, hoping to stall for time. Kill. How could Ningyu not know what the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was planning? He took out the red demon sword and slashed repeatedly. In a split second, several sword rays appeared and slashed towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. Law of Space, bring me closer to him. Ningyu's killing intent was aroused and he began to contact the Law of Space. Buzz. The Law of Space did not dare to be slow. It hurriedly tore through the void with Ningyu and appeared in front of the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign in the blink of an eye. Shit. As soon as Ningyu disappeared, the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign realized that something was wrong. However, with the help of the Law of Space, Ningyu's speed was so fast that it was terrifying. Poof! Tearing through the void, Ningyu stabbed out with the red demon sword. Precisely, Ningyu's sword stabbed into the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign's heart. Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. With a low roar, Ningyu hurriedly took out the 10,000 sacred flag and summoned the Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign did not expect that Ningyu would have such a thing. For a moment, he was stunned on the spot. Of course, the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign's physical body had already been destroyed. It was his primordial spirit that was stunned on the spot. Crack. The primordial spirit battle physique did not hold back. While the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was stunned, it opened its mouth and swallowed him. He's dead. Seeing the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign being swallowed, the surrounding cultivators were all shocked. How long had it been? A pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was actually killed by Ningyu? The one who was most shocked was none other than Di Chang. In the beginning, Di Chang had thought that he could defeat Ningyu with the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. But now, it seemed that he was wrong. Ningyu was simply a freak. He was outrageously fierce. You can go to hell now. After killing the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign, Ningyu's gaze fell on Di Chang and he instantly rushed out. Ningyu knew his own limits. He did not help much in killing the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. It was mainly the sapling's contribution. Now, he had to show his strength to Di Chang. "Elder, save me," Di Chang shouted when he saw Ningyu rushing towards him. Although Di Chang was very confident in his strength, the cultivator he was facing was a peerless expert. Even a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign like him could kill a pinnacle 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. "Ningyu, how dare you?" Although Di Chang was fighting with Cheng Ling, his attention was always on Di Chang. Di Chang was a peerless genius of the Divine Emperor Palace. He could not lose him. There's nothing to be afraid of. After experiencing so much, Ningyu's mentality had long been tempered to be extraordinarily strong. Even if Di Chang attacked him, he would not give up on killing Di Chang, let alone Di Chang's scolding. "Die." Ningyu did not want to ask the sapling to kill Di Chang. He wanted to do it himself. The longevity flame in his left hand and the myriad bone flame in his right hand forcibly merged the two flames together. Go. Chapter 1360. Find a way to get out of here. "Elder, save me." Seeing that the flames were about to reach him, Di Chang shouted. He even forgot to resist. "Trash, hurry up and resist." Di Chang was infuriated. He was angry at both Ningyu and Di Chang. Most of all, he was disappointed in Di Chang. Ningyu is only a 7th grade human sovereign. No matter how strong he is, it's impossible for him to kill you in a short period of time. If you resist with all your strength and use all your trump cards, you can at least resist for a few seconds. These few seconds were not to be underestimated. As long as Di Chang had a few seconds, he would be able to deal a fatal blow to Ningyu. But now, everything was a mess. Di Chang was nervous. He only cared about calling for help and did not resist. Even though Di Chang's roar had awakened Di Chang, everyone knew that it was too late. In a panic, Di Chang responded. The primal chi in his body surged out, forming a protective primal chi barrier around his body. Rumble. Unfortunately, the flame Ningyu had unleashed was too powerful. Wherever the flames passed, the air parted. Even the Yuan Chi protective barrier around Di Chang shattered. Poochie. The protective barrier shattered and Di Chang was directly exposed to the attack range of the flames. The flames did not hold back and directly bombarded Di Chang's heart. It entered from the front and exited from the back. It did not stay in Di Chang's body for even a second. How did you?" Lowering his head to look at his pierced heart, Di Chang opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but before he could finish his words, he collapsed to the ground, dead. Di Chang's death was extremely thorough. Even his essence spirit was wiped out before it could escape. At this moment, all the surrounding martial artists looked at the flame with a solemn expression. It was a flame that could kill essence souls. No one was surprised that a primordial spirit battle body could devour a primordial spirit. After all, this was a publicly acknowledged fact in the Skyfiend region. However, to everyone's surprise, this flame could also destroy primordial spirits. "Ningyu, you're courting death." Looking at Di Chang being killed right in front of his eyes, Di Chang was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. One had to know that his mission in the huge city was to help the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger recover and protect Di Chang. Now that the first mission was completed, the second mission was declared a failure. Even if he left the huge city, he would still be berated by Di Wuba. "If you want to kill Ningyu, you'll have to get past me first." Since she had decided to protect Ningyu, Cheng Ling would not give up halfway. She kept Di Chang occupied so that he could not kill Ningyu. Ningyu, what should we do now?" At this moment, Jin Lan was so shocked that he was even stuttering. The fact that Ningyu could kill a second-grade Earth sovereign had indeed exceeded her expectations. It had also strengthened her resolve to help Ningyu. Salad. Ningyu's expression was very calm. He spread his hands and said, "Aya, if there's really no other way, we'll leave the altar right now." Jinlan stomped his feet in anger when he saw Ningyu acting like he had nothing to lose, and he said, "I have a space break scroll. I'll use it as soon as we leave the altar. By then, we'll be randomly teleported to some place in the Dancheng continent." "You have a space-piercing scroll?" At this moment, Ningyu was finally shocked. It was no wonder Jinlan had always been fearless when facing him. The space-piercing scroll was extremely terrifying. It could tear through a barrier set up by a Sky Supreme expert. With the space-piercing scroll, Jinlan was indeed confident. "I only have one, and it can only take 2 people." Jinlan looked at Cheng Ling and the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves in the distance and said in a low voice, "You keep the scroll. I don't need it." Ningyu waved his hand and said, although the space-piercing scroll was terrifying, it could only take 2 people at a time. On his side, including himself, the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves, and Cheng Ling, there were nearly 10 people at the peak of the 9th-grade human supreme. How could a space-piercing scroll do that? But Jinlan opened his mouth and wanted to remind Ningyu. However, seeing Ningyu's expression, Jinlan didn't continue. "This is really troublesome. The law of space, the sapling, do you have any ideas?" Ningyu began to contact the law of space and the sapling. No matter what, he had to take the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves away. The Dancheng continent was full of danger. He had not even left the Void Secret Land, but he had already become enemies with several forces. Emperor God Palace was a force. Even if they didn't look for Ningyu, Ningyu would find trouble with them. Ningyu had completely offended the Jin family, and it was a situation where he would not rest until he was dead. As for the elixir puppet of the Celestial Elixir Ridge and the black-clothed martial artists of the 3 stone caves, they were both big trouble. Without a few powerful monsters following him, Ningyu was a little worried. This world was a dog-eat-dog world. There was no rule that the older generation couldn't attack the younger generation. Usually, when the younger generation was beaten up, the older generation would come. Of course, if the person who beat up the younger generation had a strong background, the older generation would definitely not show up. There is a way, but the success rate may be a little low. After a while, the law of space said, "The giant city is a bit special. I can find a way to break a passage, but I'm not sure where we will be teleported after leaving the giant city. Just tell me, what's our chance of survival?" Ningyu asked. "Less than 50%, the law of space said. That's already very high. What if we take the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves with us? What's our chance of survival?" Ningyu asked again. No matter what, Ningyu had to take Scar and the bloodthirsty mad wolves with him. Because once they were left behind, they would definitely die. The dark gold mystic tiger was not a pushover. "I told you, less than 50%. The law of space was puzzled. "Is there something wrong with your head? You're the one with the problem." Ningyu rolled his eyes. Since there was such a high success rate with 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves, it was worth the risk. "Do you want to prepare?" Ningyu took a deep breath and said in a low voice. "No need. I'll open a passage later. You just need to go in," the law of space said. His tone seemed a bit serious. "No problem." Ningyu knew that this was a critical moment of life and death. He couldn't be careless. Therefore, he first asked Cheng Ling for her opinion through soul sound transmission. Cheng Ling glanced at Ningyu and surprisingly didn't stop him. However, she made it clear that she wouldn't leave with Ningyu. They wanted to leave from the altar. They were different from Ningyu. Once they left the giant city, their lives wouldn't be in danger. The 100 Flowers Palace's Fairy Yun, she wasn't someone to be trifled with. If you can survive, try to go to the 100 Flowers Palace. Cheng Ling warned. However, when these words fell into Ningyu's ears, he felt very speechless. No matter how he listened to it, it didn't sound good. Next, Ningyu asked for Jinlan's opinion. The result was obvious. Jinlan refused and wanted to invite Ningyu to leave with her. Naturally, Ningyu wouldn't leave with Jin Lan. Scar and the bloodthirsty mad wolves, get ready. Listen to my orders. Chapter 1361. Chapter 1361. Chapter 1361. Fut. The impact of Ningyu's voice transmission was not weak. Scarred wolf and ferocious bloodthirsty wolf were careless. The dark gold mystic tiger seized the opportunity and knocked them back. Blood spurted out of their mouths, and the two wolves' auras became extremely weak. Damn it! Seeing scarred wolf and ferocious wolf vomiting blood, Ningyu's face darkened. After all, scarred wolf and ferocious wolf were injured because of him. Fortunately, Ningyu was relieved that scarred wolf and ferocious wolf were sent flying in his direction. Buzz. At the same time, the law of space began to move. The space shook, and in an instant, a space tunnel formed by golden light appeared. Let's go! Ningyu shouted when he saw the law of space set up a spatial tunnel. Then, he leaped up and entered the tunnel. Swoosh. Behind Ningyu, scarred wolf and ferocious wolf did not dare to delay. They hurriedly tore through the void and rushed toward the space tunnel. Scarred wolf and ferocious wolf knew very well that they would die if they stayed. At this time, they had to trust Ningyu unconditionally. Their confidence could not be shaken. Therefore, scarred wolf and ferocious wolf were very fast. They did not even hesitate to burn their blood essence to increase their speed. Scarred wolf and ferocious wolf were not far from the space tunnel. Coupled with their speed, they arrived in front of the tunnel in an instant. Without saying a word, scarred wolf and ferocious wolf jumped into the space tunnel. Roar! It was not until Ningyu and ferocious wolf completely disappeared that the dark gold mystic tiger and Di Chong reacted. They moved forward side by side, madly rushing toward the space tunnel. Boom! Unfortunately, their speed was obviously slower by half a beat. As soon as scarred wolf and ferocious wolf entered the space tunnel, it closed completely and everything returned to normal. Let's go! Cheng Ling glanced in the direction where the space tunnel disappeared, then jumped out and rushed to the altar. Swoosh. Behind Cheng Ling, 5 figures quickly rushed out. Needless to say, the extra figure was Jin Lan. Retreat. Since Ningyu and the others had escaped, there was no need for Ji Hao to stay. He escorted the 4-peak 9th grade human supremes of the Broken Dragon Valley and approached the altar step by step, wanting to leave from the altar. Voila! Not only did Broken Dragon Valley's Ji Hao want to leave, but even the Great Sword Sects and Fire God Sects cultivators wanted to leave like a swarm of bees. They had entered the giant city relatively early, so they had obtained some good fortune. Although they hadn't advanced to the 1st grade Earth Sovereign Realm, they knew that nothing good would come out of staying here. Anyway, the 3 hours were almost up, and they wouldn't lose much if they left now. Outside the empty secret realm. After a period of recuperation, Jin Xiong and the others finally recovered to their peak state. After sending 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns into the giant city, Jin Xiong and the rest had encountered an unprecedented crisis. Fortunately, they were very strong and had a solid foundation. Otherwise, this kind of injury would take them a long time to recuperate. How long do you think we should wait? The quiet area was broken by a voice. The cultivator who spoke came from a small sect and was a 5th grade human supremacy. Originally, this small sect wanted to try their luck, but who would have thought that the conditions to enter the giant city were so high that they completely lost hope. Now that they had waited for a few hours, they had lost their patience and even wanted to leave. It's hard to say. It depends on how long those geniuses stay in there. That's right. According to my estimation, at least 80% of the peerless geniuses who entered the giant city will advance to the Earth Sovereign Realm. 80%? You're underestimating them. In my opinion, it must be 100%. Humph. Before the last cultivator could finish his sentence, Jin Xiong and Di Wuba snorted coldly at the same time. Hearing Jin Xiong and Di Wuba's cold snorts, the cultivator who spoke just now instantly shut his mouth. 80%. 100%. That was purely courting death. One should know that the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan had all died in the giant city. The Emperor Divine Palace was slightly better, but they also lost 3 peerless geniuses. How could they say that? Crack. At this moment, a crisp sound rang out again. Hearing this figure, everyone was dumbfounded. A cultivator from the Emperor Divine Palace opened his mouth wide as he looked at the shattered soul token in his hand. His face was filled with fear. Needless to say, the last peerless genius of the Emperor Divine Palace had also been killed. Crack crack. Di Wubar clenched his fists tightly and his body trembled domineeringly. Whether a sect could prosper for a long time depended on the number of peerless geniuses and high-end combat strength. After losing 4 peerless geniuses this time, Di Wubar's heart was bleeding. He finally understood what Jin Xiong was thinking. Whoosh! Suddenly, the altar emitted a bright golden light. Then, several figures tore through the void and appeared on the altar. It's the people from the 100-Flower Palace. 4 of them are peak 9th grade human sovereigns and a 7th grade Earth Supreme. They are all unharmed. Hey! Who is that woman? Why, did she use a space-piercing scroll? Did she leave? The people from the Broken Dragon Valley are also unharmed. Look, it's the people from the Great Sword Sect, Fire God Sect, Evil Monarch Manor, and Death Valley. It seems that the peerless genius of the Great Sword Sect has obtained some good fortune. Although he did not advance to the Earth Supreme Realm, his cultivation has reached the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. The people from the Fire God Sect are not bad. They are only half a step away from the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. The people from the Evil Monarch Manor and Death Valley are a little worse. They don't seem to have obtained much good fortune. Everyone was discussing, and the surroundings were lively. Of course, some people were happy, while others were sad. The one who was most depressed was Jin Xiong. Not only did the 4 peerless geniuses die inside, but even a 2nd grade Earth Supreme Realm died inside. What was more exaggerated was that the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm, Jin Fu, did not leave either. Look, someone else came out. Suddenly, everyone's gaze shifted to the altar. Rumble. A rumbling sound rang out, and then the altar emitted a bright golden light. 2 figures quietly appeared. It's Di Chong. Who's the other one? It seems to be a demonic beast. I know, it's the dark golden mystic tiger, and its cultivation has reached the 6th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Just when everyone's attention was on the dark golden mystic tiger, a powerful voice resounded in the area. From today onwards, the Void Secret Realm will be closed for 3 years. No one is allowed to step into the Void Secret Realm. Anyone who dares to step into the Void Secret Realm will be killed without mercy. Hua. This sentence was extremely powerful and domineering, leaving no room for negotiation. The surroundings were in an uproar. But everyone was clear that no one wanted to stand out at this time. The Void Secret Realm was a good place to train. If the Void Secret Realm was closed, the ones who would suffer the most would be the Jin Clan, Emperor Palace, and the other powerful sects. Swish. Chapter 1362. Chapter 1362. Chapter 1362. Starcloud City. Both Di Wubar and Jinlan's faces darkened when they heard the powerful voice. The closure of the Void Secret Realm was indeed a great loss to them. However, as the higher-ups of their respective sects, they more or less knew what had happened in the Void Secret Realm. None of them had expected this to happen, and there was nothing they could do about it. By the way, why hasn't the 7th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin Clan come out? Suddenly, someone thought of a terrifying possibility. Now that the Void Secret Realm was closed, and the 7th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin Clan had yet to leave, wouldn't that mean that he would be trapped in there for 3 years? Whoosh! Everyone's eyes fell on Jin Xiong. Senior, there are still people from the Jin Clan in the Void Secret Realm. Can you make an exception? Thinking of Jin Fu and Jin Liefei and the others who had entered the Void Secret Realm not long ago, Jin Xiong had to bite the bullet. Those people were the higher-ups of the Jin Clan. If they were all trapped in the Void Secret Realm for 3 years, the strength of the Jin Clan would be greatly affected. It might even drop by a level. Even if those people came out of the Void Secret Realm after 3 years, it might be man-made. I know what you're thinking, but I can tell you clearly that there are no humans in the void secret realm. The voice came out from the altar again. However, Jin Xiong's jaw dropped when he heard the voice. He was completely dumbfounded. There were no humans in the void secret realm? If that was the case, where were Jin Liefei and the others who had entered the void secret realm? Were they all dead? All kinds of doubts flashed through Jin Xiong's mind. Finally, Jin Xiong felt a tightness in his chest, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. 4 peerless geniuses were killed. That was fine. The Jin clan still had other geniuses. A second-grade Earth Supreme was killed. That was fine. The Jin clan still had many Earth Supreme experts. Jin Fu's death was not something that could not be accepted. However, the death of Jin Liefei and the others was like a bolt from the blue to the Jin clan. It was unacceptable. Let's go. With a gloomy expression, Jin Xiong waved his hand and rushed toward the Qianye Empire. Jin Xiong was very anxious. He wanted to tell this matter to the Jin family's ancestor, and he also wanted to seal off the news. This was especially true for the hostile forces of the Jin clan. They could not be allowed to know that Jin Liefei and the others had been completely annihilated. Otherwise, all the forces would definitely gather in the Qianye Empire. At that time, it was still unknown whether the Jin family could continue to hold on. Jin Xiong leaving in such a hurry made everyone very puzzled. Although they were confused, since the empty secret realm would be sealed for 3 years, there was no need for these people to stay. Voila. Therefore, the crowd dispersed and quickly disappeared. Buzz. Not long after everyone left, a figure quietly appeared. Did he really die inside? This figure was none other than the one who had a conflict with Ningyu in the Celestial Dan Hall, Xie Yi. After pausing for a while, Xie Yi's figure flashed as he flew into the distance. Buzz. After a while, the space cracked open again. The 2 figures that appeared this time were the black-clothed martial artist and the 3-legged golden crow. What a pity. The empty secret realm has been sealed for 3 years. I won't be able to get the Kuan Peng bone. The black-clothed martial artist shook his head and said, "The winds are rising and the clouds are gathering. I didn't expect someone from the Dan Kai to appear. It seems like I will have to switch to another clone." As he spoke, the black-clothed martial artist's figure gradually became illusory. Very quickly, he turned into a shadow and disappeared. The black-clothed martial artist disappeared. The 3-legged golden crow shuddered. For some reason, the 3-legged golden crow felt that the black-clothed martial artist had not gone far. It was as if he was staring at it from the void. I should return to the clan as soon as possible. The 3-legged golden crow looked left and right. Then, he flapped his wings and flew in a specific direction. After everyone left, at the exit of the empty secret realm, the ground below the altar suddenly caved in. The altar that stood above the ground completely sank into the ground. This trip to the empty secret realm had some happy and some sad. However, everyone agreed that in the coming days, the Qianye Empire and even the entire Dan Kai mainland would be reshuffled. Star Cloud City. Located in the center of the Qianye Empire, it was the largest city in the Qianye Empire apart from the capital. The city walls were tall, and the buildings in the city were majestic. It had a majestic aura. Rumor had it that when Star Cloud City was first built, all the alchemy geniuses in the Qianye Empire gathered in Star Cloud City to hold the alchemy competition of the Qianye Empire. In the end, an alchemy genius named Xingyun won first place, and Star Cloud City was named after him. Since then, Star Cloud City had become the holy land of alchemy in the Qianye Empire. Almost all the alchemists in the Qianye Empire would head to Star Cloud City, hoping to enter Star Cloud Academy and become a member. This was because the dean of Star Cloud Academy was Grandmaster Xingyun, a peak 9th grade alchemist. In the Sky Demon territory, any peak 9th grade alchemist was a high and mighty existence. If anyone could receive guidance from Grandmaster Xingyun, they would probably wake up smiling even in their dreams. Star Cloud City was especially lively today. Not only were all the alchemists in the Qianye Empire gathered here, but even the other 3 empires had sent their own alchemy geniuses over, hoping to receive guidance from Grandmaster Xingyun. There were a total of 4 empires in the Dan Cheng mainland. Qianya Empire, Cloudy Wind Empire, Heavenly Dragon Empire, and Purple Sun Empire. Although there were 9th grade alchemists in the other 3 empires, their alchemy level was only at the advanced stage of 9th grade alchemy. There was always a layer of paper between them and a peak 9th grade alchemist. Hey, have you heard? Grandmaster Xingyun said that whoever wins first place in this alchemy competition will have the opportunity to talk to him face to face. Phut, who doesn't know? In order to have a chance to talk to Grandmaster Xingyun, the other 3 empires sent their strongest lineup. Even the peerless genius who had just gone into seclusion was called over. What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up, there won't be any seats left if you wait any longer. Rustle. All the martial artists and alchemists in Star Cloud City were boiling with excitement. Everyone rushed towards the Nebula Academy, striving to outdo each other. Because there were too many people participating in this alchemy competition, Grandmaster Xingyun announced that only alchemists under the age of 30 were allowed to participate, and the strength of their soul force could not be weaker than 5th grade alchemy. In order to facilitate the registration, there were a total of 10 registration tables in front of the main entrance of Star Cloud Academy. Behind each registration table, there was a huge soul testing tablet. As long as one placed their hand on it, the tablet would show the level of their soul force. Sister Yao, we can't go on like this. Should we lower our requirements a little? Out of the 10 registration tables, the other 9 were full of people. Only the first registration table had no one in sight. I'm very curious. Inside the first registration table, a beautiful lady frowned and said, "Our requirements are very low. Why didn't anyone come? Are they not confident?" Hearing the beautiful lady's words, the other 2 young men who were in charge of recording rolled their eyes and were speechless. You call this low requirements? The other registration tables had very simple requirements. As long as one was under the age of 30, and the strength of their soul force was higher than 5th grade alchemist. Chapter 1363. Sign up. There's still no one on Yarrow Cheung's side. That's right. Look at her life-saving requirements. An alchemist under the age of 25 must have a soul force strength of 8th grade. Does she think that everyone is as abnormal as her? I don't know what she's thinking. This alchemy competition was personally ordered by Grandmaster Xingyun, but she insisted on coming to cause trouble. Someone else is qualified to cause trouble. That person is the last disciple of Master Xingyun. It might be Master Xingyun's order. Let's not ask around blindly. Registration is more important. The discussions of the crowd entered into the ears of Xia Qing and Zhao Tai, causing them to be speechless. What did he mean by Master Xingyun's order? Others might not know, but the 2 of them knew very well. Within Nebula Academy, there was a pagoda called the Yuzun Pagoda. The Tower of Ascension had a total of 9 levels, and it was rumored that each level corresponded to a soul force strength. In other words, a 5th grade soul force could ascend to the 5th floor, and a 7th grade soul force could ascend to the 7th floor. However, there were exceptions to everything. Even if one soul force reached the pinnacle of Tier 8, there was no way to ascend to the 8th level of the Nebula Pagoda. Yarrow Cheung's soul force was at the 8th grade. Over the years, she had entered the Tower of Yuzun more than once, but without exception, she had always stopped at the 7th level. Therefore, every time Nebula Academy recruited students or held an alchemy competition, she would set up a registration counter and write down the requirements. Age, below 25 years old. Soul power strength, tentatively set at rank 8. Higher wouldn't be a problem. As long as he could reach the 8th level of the Tower of Yuzun, the conditions could be relaxed. Sister Yao, we've been waiting here for half a day. I don't think anyone will come to sign up. Xia Qing braced herself and said. Zhao Tai also had a hopeful look on his face. The 2 of them were forced to come. They had no choice but to come. After all, be it in martial arts or alchemy, Yarrow Cheung would definitely crush them. Who says no one will come? Yarrow Cheung's face was expressionless as she said, I observed the stars last night and realized that someone would be coming to register today. All right. Upon hearing Yarrow Cheung's words, Xia Qing and Zhao Tai both pulled long faces and looked dispirited. Someone came to sign up. Even if there were people who met the requirements, they would never sign up. Any talented alchemist would have heard of the Tower of Ascension. The Tower of the Supreme View was indeed very special. Every time one ascended a level, they would be rewarded with many things. However, one had to pay a hefty price to enter the Tower of Yuzu. Someone had calculated that unless one reached the 8th level of the Tower of Yuzuan, they would suffer a loss if they entered. They would lose so much that they wouldn't even be left with their pants. In the past, there were a few idiots who came to sign up, but when they heard that they had to pay a huge price to enter, they all cried and shouted that they wanted to give up. It would be strange if someone came to sign up. That's right. No one will come to sign up. It's time to open, it's time to open. One bet, 1 to 10. Don't miss it. Hurry up and buy. I guarantee that you'll make a fortune. I'll do it, I'll do it. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals, no one will come and sign up. Go, 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 go. Didn't you hear what I said? I'll only open one betting stand. If someone comes over to sign up for this stand, I'll pay you back 10 times for everyone you buy. I'm honest with you. Before the voice of the martial artist who had set up the bet had faded, the crowd dispersed in an uproar. Buy people to sign up. What a joke. No one wanted to lose origin crystals for nothing. Sigh, what bad luck. It's getting worse every year. The martial artist who had set up the bet lightly sighed. But very quickly, he changed his tone and said, "Damn, your requirements are so high. Unless someone falls from the sky and directly falls onto your registration stand, if anyone dares to sign up at your stand, I'll crack." The martial artist had only spoken halfway when his mouth opened wide. His eyes widened and his face was filled with a dumbfounded expression. Swoosh. Apart from this martial artist, even the martial artists at the entrance of the Nebula Academy were dumbfounded. What the hell? This was the thought in everyone's mind. The space above the registration stand where Yarrow Cheung and the others were at split open. A figure fell down and smashed the registration stand into pieces. Gulp. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, the martial artist who had set up the bet felt that it was inconceivable. He said, "Someone really fell from the sky. Fortunately, I didn't open the bet just now. Otherwise, I would have lost so much that I wouldn't even have my underwear left. Ayo, my God. There's really someone who wants to sign up. Could it be that he's attracted by Yarrow Cheung's beauty and wants to use this method to attract Yarrow Cheung's attention? That's really possible." The crowd discussed, but the majority agreed with this view. In Nebula City and even in the Thousand Leaf Empire, there were countless people who liked Yarrow Cheung. In order to woo Yarrow Cheung, some people used all kinds of methods. Needless to say, this martial artist's method was indeed quite novel. Secretly, some young men gave the grimacing man on the ground a thumbs up. "Ayo, the law of space, where the hell did you bring me?" Rubbing his slightly painful butt, Ningyu couldn't help but start complaining. Although he knew that he had successfully survived, Ningyu still wanted to complain. After all, the law of space could have helped him, but he didn't. "There's an expert. It's not convenient for me to act." The voice of the law of space sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing this voice, Ningyu was first stunned. Then, he exerted some force in his legs and stood up. "My apologies, I broke your table. I'll compensate you." Looking at the wooden splinters on the ground, Ningyu said, "I can't find you a table that's exactly the same in a short period of time. How about this? I'll give you a few crystals." As he spoke, Ningyu's perception rummaged through his storage ring, trying to find crystals. Very soon, Ningyu revealed an awkward expression. The current him was a pauper. Forget crystals, he didn't even have gold coins. "Are you here to sign up?" Yarrow Cheung stared at Ningyu and asked. "Sign up?" Ningyu was taken aback and asked doubtfully, "Sign up for what?" Ha ha ha. Ningyu's words caused the surrounding martial artists to burst into laughter. "All of you, shut up." Yarrow Cheung flipped out and said coldly, "I'll ask you one last time. Are you here to sign up?" Yarrow Cheung enunciated the last few words one at a time. Her words, combined with Yarrow Cheung's aura, caused the surrounding martial artists to shut up. "My apologies, I'm not here to sign up." "I'll." Ningyu frowned and shook his head. You don't have to sign up, but you have to compensate me for my table. An identical table, Yarrow Cheung said coldly. Ningyu was dumbfounded. He had just escaped from the void mystic realm. He had not even figured out what was going on, and he was already in trouble again. Sign up. Sign up for what? What the F***ck? There was only one thought in Ningyu's mind, and that was to leave as soon as possible to prevent being discovered by the Jin family's expert. Chapter 1364. Chapter 1364, Decapitation. Yarrow Cheung is furious. That cultivator has to agree whether he wants to or not. Isn't that right? Yarrow Cheung is famous for being domineering. Once she has set her mind on something, she will never change. Hey, kid, you'd better agree to it. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave. That's right, agreeing to it won't be a bad thing for you. As the crowd discussed, they even started to persuade Ningyu. Of course, most of the cultivators were just watching the show. As the saying went, watching a show doesn't mind if things get out of hand. I really have something urgent to attend to. Ningyu put on a long face and pretended to be very anxious. How about this? Tomorrow, I promise to come and sign up, Ningyu said righteously, with a look of awe-inspiring righteousness. Yarrow Cheung crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at Ningyu quietly without saying a word. Her request was very simple. Sign up or pay for an identical table. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving. In my opinion, you should agree to Sister Yarrow. Seeing that the situation was a little awkward, Xia Qing could only bite the bullet and approach Ningyu. She lowered her voice and said, in the past, there were a few people like you who wanted to attract Sister Yarrow's attention. In the end, they were all crippled. As she spoke, Xia Qing casually glanced at Ningyu's lower body. Xia Qing's action made Ningyu's heart skip a beat. He hurriedly clamped his legs together. What the F***ck? Are you trying to let me live? I've brought the message. As for how you choose, I won't make the decision for you. Xia Qing pretended to leave as if nothing had happened. Gulp. Ningyu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He was really unlucky. He had just emerged from the pitch-black spatial tunnel. He did not even see the scarred and ferocious bloodthirsty berserk wolves, but he actually encountered such a thing. What? You're talking about forced buying? I can tell you honestly, it's even more terrifying than that. Alright, I agree to it. One had no choice but to lower one's head under the eaves. Moreover, the law of space said that there was a peerless powerhouse here. Ningyu didn't want to be in danger again right after escaping from danger. That's more like it. Follow me. Yarrow Cheung nodded with satisfaction and said, there's no time to lose. I'll take you there right now. Wait. As she spoke, Yarrow Cheung seemed to have thought of something. He turned around and looked at Ningyu. You should be younger than 25, right? Ningyu was confused, but he still said, yes, less than 25. What rank is your soul power? Yarrow Cheung asked again. Why are you asking this? Ningyu frowned. He did not know what Yarrow Cheung meant. What I mean is, what grade of alchemist are you? Yarrow Cheung said in a deep voice. Am I an alchemist? I'm not an alchemist. Ningyu stretched out his right hand and pointed at his nose, revealing an exaggerated expression. No matter how stupid Ningyu was, from the whispers of the crowd and the words on the registration platform, he found some clues. In the end, this Nebula Academy was holding a face competition, and today was the registration day. After discovering these clues, Ningyu naturally had to find a way to leave. This was the Thousand Leaf Empire. Even if there was an alchemy competition, the Jin family would definitely participate. If this Yarrow Cheung made things difficult for him again, he would definitely run. Fart. The crowd burst into laughter when they heard Ningyu's words. In the end, he wasn't even an alchemist. How embarrassing. Beauty Yarrow is going to suffer this time. I didn't expect her to fail because of this guy. In my opinion, this guy is definitely an alchemist. He just doesn't want to go to the Yuzuan Tower. I agree. Yarrow Cheung thinks that everyone is like her, able to enter the Yuzuan Tower at any time. Every time the Yuzuan Tower opens, It consumes a huge amount of resources. Ordinary people can't afford it. Hearing this, Ningyu's heart stirred. He didn't know Yarrow Cheong, nor had he heard of Nebula Academy. However, he knew this Yuzuan Tower very well. To be precise, in his previous life, this Yuzuan Tower belonged to him. The Yuzuan Tower specialized in nurturing alchemist geniuses. It could allow alchemists to improve even further. Any 8th grade alchemist under the age of 30 who could ascend to the 8th floor of the Yuzuan Tower would unconditionally increase their soul force by 1 level. The reason why the Yuzuan Tower was so abnormal was because Ningyu had left 2 ancient arrays on the 8th and 9th floor. These 2 ancient arrays had the effect of nourishing the soul, which was a great help in cultivating soul force. In his previous life, Ningyu accepted a disciple. Of course, the news of Ningyu accepting a disciple was not known by anyone in the vast Sky Demon domain. When he was besieged, that disciple happened to be inside the Yuzuan Tower and did not come out, so he was lucky enough to escape. Did that kid change his name to Grandmaster Xingyun? Ningyu's heart shook. He vaguely remembered that the disciple he accepted was an orphan. However, he was talented in alchemy, willing to endure hardships and study hard. It was because of that disciple's willingness to endure hardships that Ningyu decided to give him the Yuzuan Tower. Otherwise, why would Ningyu give a treasure as precious as the Yuzuan Tower to someone else so easily? This was because the Yuzuan Tower had a secret. It wasn't just a tower, but a treasure that surpassed the emperor rank. Thinking of this, Ningyu sorted out his thoughts and smiled apologetically at Yarrow Cheong. "I'm sorry, I was just joking. I'm actually an 8th grade alchemist." Fart. Ningyu's calm demeanor and the change in his expression caused the crowd to burst into laughter once more. This is too funny. Is he a clown hired by a monkey? More or less, but he's quite bold. That's Yarrow Cheong, the devil Yarrow. He actually dared to tease her like this. Maybe he's bold because he's skilled. Didn't you hear him say that he's an 8th grade alchemist? The crowd's discussion fell into Yarrow Cheong's ears, and she was instantly infuriated. How dare he tease me? Whoosh. With both feet on the ground, Yarrow Cheong quickly rushed out. "Sister Yarrow, don't." Seeing Yarrow Cheong rush out, Xia Qing hurriedly shouted. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and apologize to Sister Yarrow." On the other side, Zhao Tai also hurriedly reminded Ningyu. "Young man, hurry up and beg for mercy. Otherwise, Devil Yarrow will kill you. Don't scare the handsome little guy. At most, Devil Yarrow will cripple him. How could he kill him? Demons may be tyrannical, but they still have a sense of propriety. At most, they'll cripple him and make him a eunuch." Some tried to persuade Ningyu to admit his mistake, while others just wanted to watch the show and add fuel to the fire. Although there were many different opinions, everyone had the same thought. Ningyu was going to suffer. Yarrow Cheong was Grandmaster Xingyun's eldest disciple. Not only was her soul force at the late 8th grade, but her cultivation was also at the peak of 9th grade. Chapter 1365. Frost Iron Sect Brat, take this. Otherwise, don't even think of leaving today. Yarrow Cheong's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, she had arrived before Ningyu. She clenched her right hand into a fist and violently punched towards Ningyu. On the surface, Yarrow Cheong's punch seemed very powerful. However, that wasn't the case. This was the Nebula Academy, and with so many people watching, she naturally wouldn't kill. 50% of her strength. Yarrow Cheong's original intention was to teach Ningyu a lesson. Therefore, she had only used 50% of her strength. However, Yarrow Cheong was a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. Therefore, 50% of her strength was also very shocking. "Have mercy, I was only joking with you." Looking at the fist that was inches away from him, Ningyu yelled in an attempt to wake Yarrow Cheong up. However, Yarrow Cheong had already determined that Ningyu was teasing her. No matter what, she would still throw this punch. Since he couldn't dodge it, Ningyu could only bite the bullet and throw a punch out. Boom! The two fists collided. Ningyu was like a kite with its string cut as he fell backwards. Crack! Ningyu's body slammed into another registration platform, shattering it into pieces. I'm sorry. After that move, Ningyu hastily crawled up from the ground and apologized profusely. In fact, Ningyu was very clear that he couldn't reveal his martial Dao strength here, no matter what. Not to mention the peerless experts in the Nebula Academy, there were also many Earth sovereigns amongst the spectators. Revealing his martial Dao strength here was simply courting death. Ha ha ha. Everyone burst into laughter when they saw Ningyu smash another registration platform. Not simple, this person is not simple. In the crowd, a young man in black frowned his brows as he stared at Ningyu and said, "Find a way to investigate his background." Investigate. Find out his background. We can't afford any mistakes in the alchemy competition organized by the Nebula Academy. Check it out. If there's no one behind him, find a way to kill him. What Ningyu didn't know was that he had become the target of public criticism because he didn't suffer any serious injuries from Yaro Cheung's attack. Of course, Ningyu did not care about what these people thought. At this moment, he slowly walked toward Yaro Cheung and said, "I was just joking. I really am an 8th grade alchemist. If you don't believe me, you can check it." "Are you really an 8th grade apothecary?" Hearing Ningyu's words, coupled with the fact that Ningyu had withstood her punch and remained unscathed, Yaro Cheung's heart wavered a little. In the flesh, Ningyu raised his head and puffed out his chest. "Humph. What's going on today? Why does any Tom, Dick, or Harry dare to come here?" At this moment, a cold snort sounded from the crowd. Then, a young man in white walked straight towards Ningyu. "Sister Yaro, I completely meet your requirements. Can you bring me to the Yuzuan Tower now?" Ningyu ignored the man in white and even began to call Yaro Cheung as Sister Yaro. The Yuzuan Tower was an artifact and a good place to train one's soul force. Although he didn't know why the Yuzuan Tower was in Nebula Academy, Ningyu was very clear that as long as he could reach the 8th floor of the tower, his soul force would rise to the peak of 8th grade. Most importantly, Ningyu wanted to reach the 10th floor of the Yuzuan Tower and activate the array there to take away the Yuzuan Tower. In any case, the Yuzuan Tower belonged to Ningyu 20 years ago. If Ningyu took it away, there would be no psychological burden. "Didn't you hear what I said?" Seeing Ningyu ignore him, the man in white's face instantly turned gloomy. He scolded, "You said you're an 8th grade alchemist, so you're an 8th grade alchemist. What proof do you have?" "Sister Yaro, I guarantee that I meet the requirements. Why don't we go to the Yuzuan Tower now? With my talent, not to mention the 8th floor, even the 9th and 10th floor would be a cinch." Ningyu patted his chest and guaranteed, as if ascending the Yuzuan Tower was as simple as eating a meal. "I'm so angry." The man in white trembled with anger. No matter what, he was a peerless genius of the Frost Metal School. The man in front of him didn't give him any face, which made him furious. "Yaro Cheung, this brat has provoked you time and time again. It's not convenient for you to act. Let me teach him a lesson. After all, this was Nebula Academy." The man in white didn't dare to act without Yaro Cheung's permission. During the previous registrations, there were fights in front of Nebula Academy, but they were all caught by Yaro Cheung and thrown out of Nebula City. The man in white didn't want to provoke Yaro Cheung. "Who is this guy?" Ningyu slightly knitted his brows and grabbed Xia Qing. "Does he like Sister Yaro?" Xia Qing rolled her eyes at Ningyu's question. She lowered her voice and said, "His name is Baijon. He's a peerless genius of the Frost Metal School. He's a 7th grade sovereign with an initial phase 7th grade soul energy. A 7th grade sovereign is also a peerless genius." Ningyu opened his mouth and said exaggeratedly, "If that's the case, then I'm also a peerless genius. I never thought that I would become a peerless genius one day." Ningyu's words caused everyone to be speechless. This was especially true for Baijon. He was so angry that white smoke was coming out of his nostrils. Lower your voice. Baijon is very powerful. Don't underestimate him just because he's a 7th grade sovereign. Ordinary 8th grade sovereigns aren't his match." Xia Qing immediately signaled to Ningyu with her eyes and said, "Furthermore, the Frost Metal School has just merged with the Emperor Palace, becoming a subsidiary of the Emperor Palace." "Merged with the Emperor Palace?" Hearing that, Ningyu raised his brows and his face turned a little gloomy. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He had enmity with the Emperor Palace, but the Frost Metal School had merged with the Emperor Palace. Most importantly, the peerless genius of the Frost Metal School had taken the initiative to provoke him. It was truly unbearable even if it could be tolerated. However, Ningyu did not take the initiative to attack. He moved closer to Xia Qing and asked, "What's the cultivation of the strongest expert of the Frost Metal School?" "Third grade Earth Sovereign." Xia Qing replied. But soon, Xia Qing's face turned vigilant and she said, "Don't be impulsive. Although the Frost Metal School often does shady things, they've already been subdued by the Emperor Palace. You can't do anything stupid." "How could I do anything stupid?" Ningyu was speechless. Xia Qing was too sensitive. If Xia Qing knew that his intention was to wipe out the Frost Metal School, how would she feel? Would she be scared out of her wits? By the way, did the third grade Earth Sovereign of the Frost Metal School come today? Ningyu asked again. He had no choice. This was Starcloud City, after all. It was safer to make a move after finding out the situation. They didn't come. The leader of the Frost Metal School is a first-grade Earth Sovereign. He's so powerful that even Sister Yarrow doesn't want to offend him. "Hey, what are you doing?" Xia Qing explained. However, before Xia Qing could finish her explanation, Ningyu moved toward Baijon. There was a saying that went, "If a tiger doesn't show its power, you'll think it's a sick cat." Ningyu felt that he couldn't tolerate it anymore. After all, he had to display his strength and make some small fries fear him. Chapter 1366. Disgrace. Although Ningyu seemed slow, he was actually very fast. In the blink of an eye, Ningyu had arrived before Baijon. After sizing up Baijon, Ningyu said, "You want to teach me a lesson? What? Do you have any other ideas?" Baijon was slightly stunned and said, "You're just a 7th grade sovereign, yet you dare to take liberties with Yarrow Cheung? You must be tired of living." At this moment, Baijon was very excited. At the beginning, he was still thinking about how to cause trouble for Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu would come to him on his own accord? "Yarrow Cheung, you don't have any objections to me teaching this arrogant brat a lesson, right?" Although Baijon wanted to teach Ningyu a lesson, he did not forget where he was. So, he turned around and asked Yarrow Cheung for her opinion. "I don't mind." Yarrow Cheung replied with a slight frown. In fact, Yarrow Cheung had long disliked Baijon. If it wasn't for Han Timon's Earth Sovereign, she would have kicked Baijon away. Now that Baijon wanted to humiliate himself, how could Yarrow Cheung stop him? In Yarrow Cheung's opinion, Ningyu was very powerful. He was only slightly weaker than her. Why not use Ningyu to teach Baijon a lesson? Not only could she teach Baijon a lesson, but she could also see Ningyu's true strength. "Brat, Baijon, do not beat up nameless people." After receiving Yarrow Cheung's approval, Baijon rejoiced and said, "Tell me your name." I'm sorry, but my name is Nameless." Ningyu waved his hand and interrupted Baijon. "Nameless?" Baijon was slightly stunned when he heard Ningyu's words. "Nameless? There's actually someone with this name?" Fut. Baijon only reacted when someone beside him laughed. When he reacted, his face turned ashen and drained of blood. This brat is really arrogant. He had said that he would not beat up a nameless person. Now that this kid called him nameless, it was clearly a slap to his face. "I think I heard someone say that they don't fight nameless people. My name is John Doe. Are you going to fight or not?" Ningyu crossed his arms in front of his chest as he looked at Baijon with interest. "You're courting death." After being ridiculed by Ningyu in front of so many people, Baijon's expression became unsightly. He stamped his feet on the ground and quickly charged forward. "Wait." However, right after Baijon took a step forward, Ningyu stretched out his right hand and said, "It's not impossible for me to duel with you, but there must be some stakes." "What prize?" Baijon stopped abruptly. If it weren't for Yarrow Cheung, Baijon would have already killed Ningyu. Now that Yarrow Cheung was watching from the side, if Ningyu did not make a move, he would be looked down upon even if he won. "Let me think about it." Ningyu jogged over to Xia Qing's side and asked in a low voice, "Do I need a lot of materials to enter the Tower of Yuzuan now?" "That's right, I need a lot of materials." Xia Qing nodded. "Got it." Ningyu nodded. Then, he jogged over to Baijian and said seriously, "I came out in a hurry today and did not bring anything with me. Furthermore, I want to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. So, what are you trying to say?" Baijian looked at him coldly. "The prize is the materials needed to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Prepare a set of materials for me to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. I will be able to use them later," Ningyu said as if he was talking about something very ordinary. "What is your prize?" Baijian's chest heaved up and down, but he forcefully suppressed it and asked, "My prize? What prize do I need? You are the one who insisted on dueling with me. If I lose, you will beat me up, but if you lose, you will only give me some materials. In short, I am suffering a great loss." Ningyu was confused, revealing a confused expression. Pu. Baijian was so angry that he vomited a mouthful of blood. "How thick-skinned must you be to say such things?" "Fine, I agree. To teach Ningyu a lesson as soon as possible," Baijian gritted his teeth and agreed. Although there were many materials needed to enter the Tower of Yuzuan, Baijian did not think that he would fail. Hence, he did not feel any psychological burden agreeing to it. "Can we duel now?" Baijian said coldly. "Wait a moment." Ningyu waved his right hand. Then, he jogged over to Yao Qiong's side and said, "Sister Yao, did you hear that? If I defeat that Baijian, he'll give me the materials I need to enter the Tower of Ascension." Whoosh! Yao Qiong's right foot responded to Ningyu. Ningyu shuddered and quickly fled. He was still hoping that Yao Qiong would bring him into the Tower of Yuzuan. It was not wise to offend her here. "All right, you can make your move now." After tidying up his clothes, Ningyu stood where he was and hooked his finger at Baijian. Whoosh! Ningyu's action caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. It was one thing for him to look down on Baijian, but he even mocked him in front of so many people. Given Baijian's character, he would definitely not let him off. Where did this brat come from? He even dares to offend Baijian. He, Baijian has always prided himself as an exceptional genius. In my opinion, he might have run into a nail this time. I'm optimistic about Baijian. I heard that after the Frost Metal sect merged with the Divine Emperor Palace, Baijian was personally taught by an elder of the Divine Emperor Palace. Although Baijian is only a grade 7 mortal sovereign, he can kill a grade 8 mortal sovereign. That brat is in danger. The opinions of the crowd were not too different. They were not optimistic about Ningyu. This is infuriating. Baijian clenched his fists and instantly shot forward. In order to defeat Ningyu as quickly as possible, Baijian used his full strength in his first move. Frost Metal Fist. Strands of cold qi emerged from Baijian's fist and shot toward Ningyu. "Be careful," Xia Qing shouted when she saw the changes in Baijian's fist. She didn't know why, but she didn't want anything to happen to Ningyu. Baijian's way of doing things was very shameless. "It's fine." Xia Qing's voice resounded in his ears. Ningyu turned around and smiled at her. "You're courting death." Seeing Ningyu turn around, Baijian's expression turned cold as he ruthlessly punched his right fist toward Ningyu. At the crucial moment, Ningyu clenched his left fist and thrust it forward. Bang! In the next moment, what everyone had expected did not happen. Instead, Baijian's fist was unable to move an inch forward. "What? What did I just see? Am I blind?" "You mean you're not blind?" That brat did block Baijian's all-out attack. Baijian's all-out attack can even kill an 8th grade sovereign. Just who is that brat? He actually managed to block it so easily. "You're asking me?" "Yeah, I'm asking you. Who the hell am I supposed to ask?" In short, the fact that Ningyu had blocked Baijian's attack with his left hand caused everyone to discuss it with astonishment. Although Baijian's strength couldn't be ranked in the pellet formation continent, he could still be ranked among the second-rate geniuses in the Qianye Empire. However, a second-rate genius like Baijian was easily defeated by a cultivator of the same realm. Chapter 1367. Sneak attack. Ah. I will kill you. Not only did the crowd not expect this, but even Baijon himself did not expect that Ningyu would block such a powerful attack. Baijon faced the sky and roared. Then, he suddenly pulled back his palm and chopped at Ningyu's neck. Insignificant skill. The corners of Ningyu's lips curled up as he dodged to the side. He grabbed Baijon's wrist with his left hand and exerted some force. Kaca. Baijon's right wrist broke. Ah! With his wrist broken, Baijon let out a miserable shriek like a pig being slaughtered. Sorry, I used too much force. Ningyu revealed an apologetic smile as he said, I thought you were very strong, so I used 10% of my strength. If I had known earlier, I would not have used even 5% of my strength. Pu. Ningyu's words were very destructive. Baijon vomited several mouthfuls of blood, and the veins on his forehead bulged. Oh! You are going berserk. When Ningyu saw Baijon's transformation, he quickly retreated a few steps. He said in astonishment, this is a little troublesome. If you go berserk, your strength will increase by several levels. I am afraid. I know you are trying to shake my confidence. Ningyu continuously provoked Baijon with words, but it did not have much of an effect. Baijon took a deep breath and calmed down. After calming down, Baijon was somewhat terrifying. Today, I will show you what cruelty is. Baijon grabbed his right wrist with his left hand and exerted force. Kaca. Another melodious sound rang out. However, this time, the melodious sound indicated that Baijon's right wrist had completely recovered. You also know medicine? Ningyu said in astonishment. Anyone who angers me will not have a good ending. Baijon ignored Ningyu's words. He flicked his wrist, and a silver flying sword appeared in his hand. A medial-grade monarch flying sword. No matter what, Baijon was an exceptional genius of the frost metal sect. It was not excessive for him to possess a middle-grade monarch flying sword. To be able to die under its sword is the fortune you've cultivated for 8 lifetimes. Baijon said emotionlessly as he caressed the silver flying sword. What do you mean? We're just sparring. Could it be that someone will die? Ningyu's face was cold as he spoke in a deep voice. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll only turn you into an idiot. After he finished speaking, Baijon held the silver flying sword in his hand and dashed out quickly. Kai. Baijon's speed was very fast, so fast that it was terrifying. The flying sword pierced through the void of space, making a hissing sound. Whoosh! At the critical moment, Ningyu's figure flashed, dodging Baijon's fatal attack. Again, even though Baijon's first attack had failed, he was not discouraged. Instead, he immediately launched a second attack. Rumble. In midair, Ningyu and Baijon continued to exchange blows. Ningyu managed to dodge every attack, narrowly missing Baijon's attack. However, Baijon missed Baijon's attack every time. As time passed, Baijon's mood became worse and worse. Baijon is going to lose. Yarou Qiong said. Lose? Baijon is firmly suppressing him, Xia Qing said doubtfully. On the surface, Baijon seems to have the upper hand. However, that is not the case. Yarou Qiong shook her head and said, Baijon used his full power in every attack. However, he did not even manage to touch that brat's clothes. Do you know what this means? I got it. Xia Qing suddenly understood. There was only one possibility for such a situation. The disparity between Ningyu and Baijon was extremely large. It was terrifyingly large. Baijon could not even touch Ningyu's clothes, let alone win. Now, I'm starting to believe his words, Yarou Qiong said calmly. Big sister Yarou, do you really think that he is a grade 8 alchemist? Xia Qing was astonished. Xia Qing knew that Ningyu was very powerful. However, there were many powerful cultivators, but that did not mean that their soul power was powerful. Without a powerful soul power, even if one entered the Tower of Ascension, they would not be able to ascend to the 8th floor. Whoosh! Right at this moment, a cold light tore through the void and silently charged towards Ningyu. Not good. The sudden change caused Yarrow Cheong's expression to change drastically. Someone had made a move. Yarrow Cheong's first thought was that someone had interfered in the fight. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Ningyu had the absolute upper hand. As long as Ningyu was given enough time, he would win sooner or later. It's the frigid metal sect. Xia Qing, who was beside Yarrow Cheong, also had an unsightly expression. No matter what, Yarrow Cheong was the one who had participated in this fight. Now, someone actually wanted to interfere. It was clear that this person was making an enemy out of Yarrow Cheong and the Nebula Academy. Be careful. Although Yarrow Cheong knew that it was the frigid metal sect that had interfered, she had no way of getting even with them. The cold light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived before Ningyu and was aimed at Ningyu's heart. What a ruthless heart! Yarrow Cheong clenched her fists. She could not wait to kill that Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. However, Yarrow Cheong was clear that with her current strength, it was impossible for her to confront a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. Not good. Ningyu was fighting with Baijon. He seemed to be looking for an opportunity to defeat Baijon, but he noticed that someone was ambushing him. Ningyu's thought process was simple. If the enemy did not offend him, he would not offend them. If the enemy offended him, he would definitely kill them. Baijon, you can't blame me for this. With a cold gaze, Ningyu took out the red demon sword. Ding! The red demon sword slashed out and forced Baijon's silver flying sword back. Thereafter, Ningyu brandished the red demon sword and stabbed it towards Baijon's heart. If the enemy is heartless, don't blame me for being unjust. Ningyu's hearing was very good, so he heard everything that Xia Qing said. I am sparring with a genius from your frigid metal sect, but you seniors are ambushing me. Originally, he felt a little guilty about killing Baijon. However, it seemed like he no longer felt any guilt. Die. He injected the essence in his sea of consciousness into the red demon sword and stabbed it towards Baijon's heart. Swish. The red demon sword was very fast. Baijon could not dodge it no matter how hard he tried. The flying sword stabbed into Baijon's body, emitting a piercing sound. Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. Since time was of the essence, Ningyu summoned the 10,000 Sacred Flag and summoned the Primordial Spirit Battle Physique to devour Baijon's Primordial Spirit. Brat, you are courting death. When the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign from the Frigid Metal Sect saw Baijon's Primordial Spirit being devoured, he became furious and charged out. I have yet to settle the score with you, and you are already coming at me. Ningyu brandished the red demon sword in his hand repeatedly and forced back the cold light that the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign from the Frigid Metal Sect had unleashed. Then, his body flashed and he started to fight with the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. Gulp. Seeing Ningyu's ferocious actions, all the surrounding cultivators, including Yarrow Cheong, swallowed a mouthful of saliva. That's a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. It's fine that you blocked his cold light, but you still dare to fight him head-on? Are you tired of living? Chapter 1368. Chapter 1368. Chapter 1368 Pagoda of Transcendence. What did I just see? That brat actually dared to fight against the Great Elder of the Frost Metal School? Yang Song is a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign, only a step away from the second-grade Earth Sovereign realm. A battle between a Grade 7 Human Sovereign and a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. TSK, TSK. I bet that kid won't last 3 moves. 3 moves. Haha, in my opinion, that kid won't even be able to withstand a single move. Ningyu did not retreat. Instead, he advanced and fought with Yang Song, causing the crowd to exclaim in surprise. After all, no matter how one looked at it, Ningyu was definitely no match for Yang Song. A 7th-grade human sovereign defeating a 1st-grade Earth Sovereign was something that no one had ever imagined. Sister Yarrow, do you want to? Xia Qing also did not think that Ningyu could win. His gaze shifted towards Yarrow Cheong, wanting to seek her help. He killed Baijon. Yarrow Cheong replied calmly, Baijon is an exceptional genius of the Frigid Metal Sect. He is the hope of the Frigid Metal Sect's rise. Now that he has been killed by that brat, do you think the Frigid Metal Sect will let him go? Let's not talk about whether or not I can save him. Even if I save his life today, the frigid metal school will definitely not let this go. But Xia Qing opened her mouth when she heard Yarou Qiong's words. She wanted to say something, but she chose to keep her mouth shut in the end. Yarou Qiong was right. Baizhon was the absolute genius of the frost metal sect. Now that Baizhon was dead, the frigid metal sect would definitely not let the matter rest. He could only blame Ningyu for being too heavy-handed. If Ningyu had spared Baizhon's life, there would have been room for reconciliation. As for now, it was a situation where they would not rest until one of them died. Bang! As the crowd exclaimed, Ningyu and Yang Song's fists collided. The two fists collided, and the two figures retreated rapidly. Whoosh! Whoosh! Judging from the distance they had retreated, Ningyu and Yang Song were evenly matched and equally matched. Voila! This situation had obviously exceeded everyone's expectations. Everyone's jaws dropped as they looked at Ningyu in disbelief, as if they had seen a ghost. Am I seeing things? A 7th grade mortal sovereign and a 1st grade earth sovereign are evenly matched. You're not mistaken. This is the result. Impossible, I don't believe it. That brat must be pretending to be weak. Right. If I have not guessed incorrectly, that brat's cultivation is at least at the Earth Sovereign realm, or even a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign realm. No wonder he could kill Baizhon so easily. It turns out that he's an Earth Sovereign. Everyone revealed a look of relief. No matter how strong Baizhon was, he was only a grade 7 mortal sovereign. If Ningyu's cultivation was at the Earth Sovereign realm, it would be easy for him to kill Baizhon, even if he was the weakest 1st grade Earth Sovereign. I'm actually an Earth Supreme. Why didn't I know? Ningyu rolled his eyes, speechless. He was a genuine 7th grade human sovereign, but he never expected that he would become an Earth Sovereign in the hearts of the crowd. However, Ningyu did not intend to argue. He knew the gravity of the situation. Through his first fight with Yang Song, he had determined that Yang Song's strength was slightly weaker than his own. Without any external help, Yang Song would definitely die if the fight continued. Sapling, if an expert comes, remember to warn me. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu decided to have a good fight with Yang Song. As the saying goes, if you beat the young, the old will come. Since Yang Song had broken the rules, he did not mind teaching him a lesson. Swish. However, just when Ningyu and Yang Song were about to fight for the second time, a figure suddenly tore through the void and appeared in front of the Nebula Academy. Elder Hu. Yarou Qiong was stunned when she saw the figure that suddenly appeared. Then, she said, "Why are you here? Look at what you've done." The old man called Elder Hu fiercely glared at Yarou Qiong, then turned to Ningyu and Yang Song and said, "Both of you, if you have any grudges, please settle them in Nebula Academy. This place is better left for them to register." "Alright, Hu Qiong, I'll give you face." Yang Song did not make things difficult for Hu Qiong. Instead, he moved and walked towards the Nebula Academy. "You see." Hu Qiong looked at Yang Song, then at Ningyu. His meaning was clear. "I don't care." Shrugging, Ningyu walked into the Nebula Academy. However, when he reached Yarou Qiong's side, Ningyu stopped and said in a low voice, "We agreed beforehand that the resources for me to enter the Tower of the Ascension of You will be provided by the Frost Metal Sect." After saying this, Ningyu did not say anything else and quickly walked into the Nebula Academy. Yarou Qiong's body trembled, her eyes filled with disbelief. At this moment, a frightening thought appeared in Yarou Qiong's mind. Perhaps, Ningyu did not kill Yang Song because he wanted Yang Song to provide the resources for him to enter the Tower of the Ascension of You. As soon as this thought appeared, it lingered in Yarou Qiong's mind and could not be erased. With her mind in a mess, Yarou Qiong turned and entered the Nebula Academy. Continue with the registration. After dealing with the registration, Hu Qiong entered the Nebula Academy to find a way to solve the problem between Ningyu and Yang Song. How troublesome. Along the way, Hu Qiong felt a headache. The sect master of the Frost Metal Sect was a grade 3 Earth Sovereign. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the Nebula Academy did not want to offend the Frost Metal Sect. In fact, when Ningyu and Baizhon were fighting, Hu Qiong had been watching from the void, waiting for an opportunity to make a move. Unfortunately, Ning Yu was too powerful. He killed Bai Zhan with lightning speed, and even Hu Qiong did not have the time to stop it. The reason why Hu Qiong stopped the fight between Ning Yu and Yang Song was that he did not want to offend the Frost Metal Sect or Ning Yu. The fact that Ning Yu was able to fight against a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign with his Grade 7 Earth Sovereign cultivation and even gain the upper hand was enough to show that his background was not simple. Perhaps, Ning Yu's background was frighteningly powerful. The Nebula Academy was huge, and there were many complicated buildings. After entering the Nebula Academy, Yang Song walked towards the martial arts practice field. In Yang Song's opinion, he and Ning Yu would definitely have a big fight, and the venue would definitely be the martial arts practice field. Wait. However, Yang Song had only taken a few steps when Hu Qiong caught up with him and said in a clear voice, "Elder Yang, in my opinion, there is no need to go to the martial arts practice field to settle the grudge between you two. Just settle it here." There were many cultivators at the martial arts practice field, and Hu Qiong did not want to make a big deal out of it. After all, if the matter was blown out of proportion, it would greatly affect the reputation of the Nebula Academy. He must die. Yang Song stopped and said coldly, "Bai Zhan is the future hope of our Frost Metal Sect. Now that he has been killed by that kid, our Frost Metal Sect will not rest until he is dead. I'm close. I can feel that as long as I ascend to the 8th floor of the Tower of Transcendence, my soul power will immediately increase to the peak of the 8th layer." Ning Yu directly ignored Yang Song's words, and an excited expression appeared on his face. The Tower of Transcendence originally belonged to Ning Yu, and Ning Yu was very sensitive about the Tower of Transcendence. Chapter 1369. Chapter 1369. Chapter 1369. The Secrets of Alchemy. Emperor, it's been 20 years. This is the first time the Yuzuan Pagoda has moved. The middle-aged man's expression was solemn as he murmured, "I don't believe that you were killed just like that. All these years, I've been trying to find out who attacked you. Don't worry, I will definitely find you, no matter the price." Sure. Ning Yu had no idea what the middle-aged man was thinking. At this moment, he completely ignored Yang Song's cold words. Instead, he moved his feet and headed towards the Tower of the Ascension of Yuzu, relying on the senses that appeared in his mind. "Where are you going?" Seeing that Ning Yu wanted to leave, Yang Song's expression turned cold. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged forward. Damn it! Hu Qiong's expression was equally ugly when he saw that Yang Song had ignored his advice and insisted on becoming enemies with Ning Yu. No matter what, he was still an elder of Nebula Academy, and he represented Nebula Academy. Yang Song did not even give him this little bit of face, which made him very angry. Fortunately, his conversation with Yang Song had not been heard by anyone else. Otherwise, how could he put his face if word got out? The more Hu Qiong thought about it, the angrier he got. In the end, he even rushed forward. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the Nebula Academy, an extremely special scene appeared. Ning Yu was in front, Yang Song was in the middle, and Hu Qiong was at the back. The speed of the three of them was very fast, shuttling back and forth in the Nebula Academy. Isn't that Elder Hu? It is indeed Elder Hu. Who are the two people in front of him? One of them is Yang Song, the great elder of the Frost Metal Sect. As for the other one, I've never seen him before. Even a well-informed person like you hasn't seen him. Could it be that he isn't someone from Nebula Academy? Look, Devil Yarrow is here too. The Tower of Ascension was located in the central plaza of Nebula Academy, so there were many students along the way. Ning Yu's group of three moved forward at full speed, which naturally attracted the attention of many students. Of course, everyone's attention was initially focused on Ning Yu, but as time passed, everyone shifted their attention to Yarrow Qiong. Yarrow Qiong was the devil-level student of Nebula Academy. She had always been the one to bully others did not dare to bully her. Now, she was actually at the back, and her face was filled with anger. Got it. Suddenly, a student shouted, "It must be the young man at the front who took liberties with Devil Yarrow." Then, the great elder of the Frigid Metal Sect and Elder Hu Qiong helped to chase after him. Now that you mention it, it's possible. Another student who was watching the show nodded and said, This is the first time Demon Yarrow has been so angry. What should we do? The students looked at each other in dismay. No one knew what to do. Of course it's to help the demon. As long as we help the demon catch that brat who took liberties with her, the demon won't make things difficult for us in the future. Yes, yes, yes. That's what we'll do. Go and intercept that kid. Go. Quickly go. If we're any slower, that kid will be captured by Elder Hu Chong and the others. Rumble. The students of Star Nebula Academy rushed forward and chased after Ningyu. They wanted to encircle Ningyu. Moreover, more and more people were coming. Let's go. That kid abandoned the demons. We have to seek justice for them. What? He actually dared to get Demon Yarrow pregnant. I think he's tired of living. What Demon Yarrow? You have to call her Sister Yarrow. Although Sister Yarrow is usually rough, no matter what, she is still my dream lover. Yarrow Cheung is your dream lover? Then what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and stop that kid. Teach him a lesson. Damn it, I'll go call people. We must bring him to justice today. The more the matter spread, the more outrageous it became. Poochie. At first, Yarrow Cheung secretly nodded when she saw the indignant expressions of the crowd. Who would have thought that everyone would slander her innocence? This almost made her spit out a mouthful of blood. Get lost. I'll cripple whoever dares to speak nonsense. Yarrow Cheung was furious. She felt that she had to stop these people. Let's go. Sister Yarrow is angry. We have to seek justice for her. Even if we have to go through water and tread on fire, we won't hesitate. Some students who were usually bullied by Yarrow Cheung hid in the crowd and fanned the flames. I'm so angry. Yarrow Cheung was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Her chest was heaving up and down. Stop right there. Yarrow Cheung took a deep breath and roared. Crack, crack, crack. Yarrow Cheung's roar contained a terrifying yuan qi fluctuation that forced some of the weaker students to retreat. Some of the students who were at the blessed realm even had a few of their bones broken. The cultivation of these spectating students was mostly between the manifestation realm and the low-level sovereign realm. The high-level sovereign realm students of Nebula Academy did not participate at all. Don't let me catch up to you, or I'll definitely kill you. Yarrow Cheung was so angry that she even burned her blood essence to increase her speed. She only hoped to catch up to Ningyu as soon as possible. Turning back to look at the large group surrounding him, Ningyu's face was filled with black lines. It was beyond his expectations that things would turn out this way. However, seeing that the Tower of Yuzuan was right in front of him, Ningyu would definitely not stop at this time. Speed up. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu raised his speed to the limit. His body turned into a blur as he dashed out. Ningyu's increase in speed had shaken off many low-level sovereign realm cultivators. Even Yang Song and Hu Qiong had pulled away from him. Bang! Before long, Ningyu stopped in front of a huge square tower. The Tower of Yuzuan. Raising his head to look at the familiar square tower, Ningyu's eyes blazed. Buzz! After Ningyu appeared, the Tower of Yuzuan seemed to tremble slightly, as if it wanted to suck Ningyu in. What's going on? At this moment, Hu Qiong and the rest could no longer care about chasing Ningyu. They all stopped and looked at the Tower of Yuzuan in confusion. This was the first time the Tower of Yuzuan had trembled since Grandmaster Nebula took it out. Crack! When the Tower of Yuzuan trembled for 3 seconds, the space above it suddenly split open, and a blurry figure slowly walked out. It's Grandmaster Nebula. I didn't expect the Tower of Yuzuan's trembling to alarm Grandmaster Nebula. Nonsense, the Tower of Yuzuan belongs to Grandmaster Nebula. Its shaking will definitely alarm him. Swish. After Grandmaster Nebula appeared, he first looked at the Tower of Yuzuan and stabilized it. Then, his gaze shifted and landed on Ningyu. A little special. Master Xingyun's evaluation of Ningyu was only 4 words, and that was a little special. While Grandmaster Nebula was sizing up Ningyu, Ningyu was also sizing up Grandmaster Nebula. A pinnacle 9th grade alchemist, and has already reached the 2nd step. Ningyu's expression was calm, but his heart was in turmoil. Although there weren't many pinnacle 9th grade alchemists in the entire Sky Demon domain, they weren't few either. However, it would be extremely difficult for these pinnacle 9th grade alchemists to advance to 10th grade alchemist. A pinnacle 9th grade alchemist could be called a pill emperor. If a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist wanted to advance to 10th grade alchemist, he would need to smoothly pass 3 stages. The first stage, chi to liquid. The second stage, chi to pill. Chapter 1370. Ascending the Ascension Tower. In his previous life, Ningyu was a peak 9th grade alchemist on the surface, but in reality, he had reached the stage of breaking through to the Emperor realm. With just one more step, he could become a pill emperor and look down on the Sky Demon region. In the end, he was besieged by 9 powerhouses and fell at the peak of the Sky Demon region. Ningyu did not expect that his disciple, whose talent in alchemy was not particularly outstanding, could reach this step and reach the stage of turning liquid into pills. You want to enter the Tower of Ascension? After a moment of silence, Grandmaster Xingyun asked. That's right, I want to enter the Tower of Ascension. Ningyu nodded. He did not lie. Why? Grandmaster Xingyun's tone was calm, without any emotions. I heard that the Tower of Ascension is very helpful for cultivating soul force. In all these years, no one from Nebula Academy has been able to ascend to the 8th floor, so I wanted to give it a try. Ningyu answered. Arrogant. Who do you think you are? You want to ascend to the 8th floor? Grandmaster Xingyun, please allow me to expel him from Nebula Academy. Even Yarrow Cheong couldn't ascend to the 8th floor, let alone you. Ningyu's words had clearly angered the crowd. Originally, everyone had a bad impression of Ningyu. Of course, this was all a rumor. After all, Ningyu did not flirt with Yarrow Cheong, nor did he abandon her. Grandmaster Xingyun's gaze swept across the students. In an instant, many of them chose to remain silent. Angering Grandmaster Xingyun would not end well for them. What makes you think you can ascend to the 8th floor? Grandmaster Xingyun stared at Ningyu and asked. Confidence. Ningyu's answer was very simple, only one word, and that was confidence. Hearing Ningyu's words, many of the students of Nebula Academy showed a furious expression. However, with Grandmaster Xingyun present, they could not do anything. I'll give you a chance to enter the Tower of Ascension. Grandmaster Xingyun waved his hand and the entrance to the first level of the Transcendence Pagoda slowly opened. After the entrance of the first floor opened, Master Xingyun's figure gradually became blurry. He was about to leave. Seeing that Grandmaster Xingyun was about to leave, Yarrow Cheong said anxiously. Master, I want to go in too. Master Xingyun didn't even turn his head. He waved his hand and said, Sure. Thank you, Master. Yarrow Cheong's face was filled with gratitude. She snorted at Ningyu and quickly walked towards the entrance of the first level of the Tower of Yuzu. Ningyu's attention was not on Yarrow Cheong at all. Ever since the Yuzuan Pagoda opened, Ningyu discovered that Grandmaster Xingyun had set up an array formation at the entrance to the first floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. The array formation was very special. It only allowed the younger generation to enter. If older martial artists wanted to enter, they would be automatically ejected. Oh right. At the entrance of the first floor, Ningyu stopped. He turned around and said to Hu Qiong, Get that guy from the Frost Metal Sect to pay for the materials I need to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. After all, Bai Zhon lost to me in a duel, so it's only right for him to. F***ck. Before Ningyu could finish his sentence, he hastily entered the Tower of Yuzuan. He saw Yang Song's gloomy expression and that he was about to make a move. Fight with Yang Song here? Ningyu didn't have that kind of time. His main task was to enter the Tower of Yuzuan and reach the 8th floor. If he fought with Yang Song here, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not to mention the delay, if he incurred Grandmaster Xingyun's displeasure, he wouldn't be able to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Moving his feet, Ningyu entered the Tower of Yuzuan without looking back. Rumble. After Ningyu and Yarrow Cheong entered the Tower of Yuzuan, the entrance of the Tower of Yuzuan closed with a loud bang. The first floor of the Tower of Yuzuan was a sealed room. There was nothing inside and it looked rather desolate. Ningyu didn't stop. He went straight to the center of the room, clenched his right fist, and punched the ground. Catcher. Ningyu's punch was extremely powerful, and its might was extremely terrifying. A huge crack appeared on the ground, and several black figures dashed out from the crack. "What are you doing?" Yarrow Cheung shouted when she saw Ningyu's actions. "Nothing, I just want to enter the second floor as soon as possible." After entering the Tower of Yuzuan, Ningyu didn't hide anymore. He wanted to enter the 8th floor as soon as possible. In this world, no one understood the Tower of Yuzuan better than Ningyu. Ningyu believed that even Grandmaster Xingyun, his previous life's disciple, didn't know many of the Tower of Yuzuan's secrets. To enter the second floor, we need to wait here for a few minutes. The entrance to the second floor will open automatically. Yarrow Cheung shouted angrily. Yarrow Cheung had entered the first floor of the Tower of Yuzuan many times. After many tries, Yarrow Cheung figured out the situation. She didn't need to do anything in the first 3 floors of the Tower of Yuzuan. All she needed to do was wait and she would be able to pass through them. Only at the 4th floor would there be danger. Now that Ningyu was attacking the ground, it actually attracted many black figures. Take a few steps back and be careful. Ningyu took out the red demon sword and slashed at the black figures. Fart, fart, fart. The creatures on the first level of the Transcendence Pagoda were relatively weak, so Ningyu quickly killed them. Absorb. After dealing with the black figures, Ningyu controlled the red demon sword and devoured them. Creak. The black figures disappeared, and the entrance to the second floor slowly opened. Looking at the entrance, Yarrow Cheung's mouth was slightly agape. She was slightly shocked. In the past, she would always wait for the entrance to the second floor to open. She didn't expect it to be like this. The Tower of Yuzuan is very special. Although we can pass the first 3 floors by just waiting, these black figures are great nourishment. We can't miss them. As if seeing Yarrow Cheung's doubt, Ningyu explained. Gulp. Yarrow Cheung swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked doubtfully, "What are those black figures?" "Soul force wrapped in Yuan Qi." Ningyu said, "The Tower of Yuzuan can help cultivate soul force. Anyone with soul force of any level will be able to cultivate faster. Although the soul force of the black figures in the first 3 floors is weaker, it's still meat. We can't waste it." As he spoke, Ningyu walked towards the second floor. "Those black figures are soul force wrapped in Yuan Qi. So that's how it is." Yarrow Cheung was shocked. On the 4th floor of the Tower of Yuzuan, a soul figure would appear. As long as one could defeat the soul figure, they would be able to pass the 4th floor. Yarrow Cheung seemed to be enlightened. In the past, she had to spend a lot of effort to kill the soul figures. Whatever the tower rewarded her, she would passively accept. She had never thought of devouring those soul figures. Since there was nothing wrong with Ningyu's actions, she made up her mind to devour those soul figures when they reached the second floor. She couldn't let Ningyu take all the advantages. After all, in Yarrow Cheung's opinion, Grandmaster Xingyun had her follow Ningyu in order to keep an eye on Ningyu. Chapter 1371. The first 3 levels, the second level of the Yuezuan Pagoda lit up. The 2 of them should have entered the second level, outside the Yuezuan Pagoda. An early-stage manifestation realm student widened his eyes and exclaimed. Swish. This student's words attracted everyone's attention. The Yuezuan Pagoda was special. Whichever level was occupied, that level would light up. Now that the second level was lit up, it meant that Ningyu and Yarrow Cheung were on the second level. What's the big deal? Even a true martial realm martial artist can easily reach the first 3 floors of the transcending pagoda. Yang Song of the Frost Metal sect curled his lips in disdain. The Yuezuan Pagoda was a specialty of Nebula Academy. As the first elder of the Frost Metal sect, Yang Song naturally knew about it. You can't put it that way. The Manifestation Realm student who had just spoken said, although anyone can ascend to the first 3 levels of the Ascension Tower, everyone, including the peerless geniuses of Nebula Academy, spent twice as much time to ascend from the first to the second level compared to Yarrow Cheung. Hey! If you didn't mention it, I wouldn't have thought of it. In the past, Yarrow Cheung took around 3 minutes to reach the second level. How come she only took a minute this time? That's right. Isn't it a little unrealistic to reach the second level in a minute? Could it be that Yarrow Cheung sped up to spite that kid? Absolutely impossible. The previous times Yarrow Cheung entered the Uesuan Pagoda, she gave it her all and only took 3 minutes to reach the second level. Are you trying to say that the kid showed off his prowess and reached the second level in a minute? Boom. The last student's words caused everyone to look at each other. If that was the case, then wasn't Ningyu too abnormal? Reaching the second level of the Uesuan Pagoda in a minute was simply unprecedented. The discussions of the students caused Yang Song's face to turn ashen and bloodless. Sabotage. The students of Nebula Academy publicly sabotaged him, which made him very unhappy. Just you wait, the fourth level. You definitely won't be able to reach the fourth level. Yang Song revealed a cold expression between his brows as he said viciously. Swish. At this moment, the third level of the Uesuan Pagoda lit up once more. It had only been a minute since the second level of the Ascension Tower lit up. The first 3 levels are just appetizers. I wonder when Yarrow Cheung and the rest will reach the fourth level. Many students stared fixedly at the fourth level of the Ascension Pagoda, waiting to see when Ningyu and Yarrow Cheung would reach it. At the same time, on the third level of the Transcendence Tower, Yarrow Cheung had a solemn look on her face as she stared at the stone door that had appeared before her. If I want to enter the fourth floor, I need to defeat the 2 soul shadows behind the stone door. Creak. As Yarrow Cheung's voice fell, the stone door slowly opened and 2 illusory figures flew out. A soul phantom with 4th grade soul power? Looking at the 2 soul phantoms that had suddenly appeared, Ningyu was stunned at first. Then, he said in a low voice, as expected, from the 4th floor onwards, every test is different. In the past, Ningyu had also entered the Tower of Ascension and reached the 9th level. From the 4th level onwards, the test they encountered each time was different. The test this time could not be said to be difficult, but it was not easy either. As long as they could defeat a soul phantom with 4th grade soul power, they would be able to reach the 4th level. Don't look down on the fact that the other party was only a soul phantom with 4th grade soul power. One must know that soul power was suppressed here. In other words, Ningyu and Yarrow Cheung's soul power could only reach 4th grade soul power. If they won, they would enter the 4th level. If they lost, they would have to rest here and would have another chance to challenge in half an hour. Scared? Seeing the change in Ningyu's expression, Yarrow Cheung's lips curled. She dashed out and charged towards one of the soul phantoms. I'll go first and wait for you in the 4th level. Before leaving, Yarrow Cheung did not forget to kindly remind Ningyu. Let's see how strong Yarrow Cheung is for now. Ningyu was not in a hurry to fight against the soul phantom. Instead, he crossed his arms and looked at Yarrow Cheung quietly. Everyone would change. Facing Master Xingyun, Ningyu did not dare to let his guard down. 20 years had passed, and if Master Xingyun's temperament changed, he would be done for. Therefore, Ningyu tried to hide as much as possible. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not expose himself. Rumble. On the 3rd level of the Uesuan Pagoda, Yarrow Cheung was already fighting with the soul phantom. Yarrow Cheung's foundation was very solid. Although her soul power was suppressed to 4th grade, it was not difficult to deal with a 4th grade soul phantom. Yarrow Cheung should be able to defeat this soul phantom in 5 minutes and enter the 4th level. Slightly frowning, Ningyu murmured, "Let Yarrow Cheung go first. I'll go later." From the 4th level onwards, the space would be completely different. In other words, even if Ningyu and Yarrow Cheung entered the 4th level at the same time, they would be teleported to different spaces. Therefore, there was no difference between entering the 4th level earlier or later. Crack. Time continued to pass, and soon, 5 minutes had passed. When the 6th minute arrived, Yarrow Cheung's soul power turned into the shape of a flying sword and destroyed the soul phantom. Since Yarrow Cheung had witnessed how terrifying Ningyu was on the 1st level of the Uesuan Pagoda, she did not hesitate to devour the soul phantom after defeating it. I'll make a move first. Yarrow Cheung shot a provocative look at Ningyu before she went to the other side of the stone door. Look, the 4th level of the Uesuan Pagoda lit up. Someone entered the 4th level. Don't tell me that brat and Yarrow Cheung entered the 4th level together. You better be careful. The light on the 3rd level hasn't disappeared yet. This means that the brat and Yarrow Cheung are on the 3rd and 4th level respectively. Then who's on the 3rd and 4th level? Of course. Yarrow Cheung is on the 4th level, and the brat is on the 3rd level. The 4th level lit up, and the entire square became lively. Everyone discussed among themselves, but no one was optimistic about Ning Yu. In their opinion, Yarrow Cheung was the one who entered the 4th level, and Ning Yu was the one who stayed on the 3rd level. Hee. What did I say just now? That brat will return to his original state once he enters the 3rd level. Yang Song finally found a chance to mock him. He sneered, in my opinion, that kid will definitely be trapped in the 3rd level of the Tower of Transcendence until he is teleported out. That makes sense. Surprisingly, no one argued with Yang Song this time. Because everyone had the feeling that great minds think alike. Arguing with Yang Song was the same as denying themselves. No one could afford to lose face like this. Wait. The light on the 3rd level has disappeared. Suddenly, a student pointed at the 3rd floor of the Tower of Yuzu and shouted. Chapter 1372. Pressure. That's right, that kid will definitely be teleported out. When he comes out, should we go up? Of course, why not? We need to teach him a lesson and let him know how powerful our Nebula Academy is. Many students rubbed shoulders and made up their minds. As long as Ning Yu left, they would make a move and teach Ning Yu a lesson. 5 minutes passed. There was no movement from the Tower of Yuzuan. No one was teleported out. 10 minutes passed. The Tower of Yuzuan was still as calm as ever. Ning Yu was still not teleported out. As time passed, the faces of the students became uglier and uglier. 10 minutes ago, they were still clamoring to teach Ning Yu a lesson. Now, 10 minutes had passed, and Ning Yu was still in the Tower of Yuzuan. Elder Hu, quickly contact Grandmaster Nebula and tell him that there's a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. That's right, Elder Hu, it's been 10 minutes, and that kid still hasn't been teleported out. There must be a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. It's already a blessing for that kid to reach the 3rd floor. The 4th floor. There's no way he can enter. The students of Nebula Academy still couldn't see the reality in front of them. They all cried out in search of psychological comfort. All of you, shut up. Hu Chong's face was cold as he roared, there can't be a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. The light on the 3rd floor disappeared, and that kid hasn't been teleported out. There's only one possibility, and that is that he entered the 4th floor. Crash. Hu Chong's words caused everyone's expression to change. Their eyes widened as they felt ashamed. Not long ago, they were confident that Ning Yu would be teleported out. Although 10 minutes had passed and Ning Yu was still in the Tower of Yuzuan, they found another excuse. There was a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. Now that they heard Hu Chong's words, everyone's faces turned ugly. They felt like they had been F***ked. The one with the ugliest expression was Yang Song of the Frost Metal sect. He was the one who shouted the loudest and even started thinking about how to deal with Ning Yu. Who would have thought that he would get such an answer? Elder Hu, could there be another situation? Yang Song did not give up and continued to ask. Hu Chong glanced at Yang Song and said indifferently, there is indeed another situation. Yang Song wasn't the only one who heaved a sigh of relief. Even the students looked relieved as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. No matter what, as long as Ning Yu didn't enter the 4th level of the Tower of Yuzuan, they wouldn't be embarrassed. However, Hu Chong's following words caused Yang Song and the others to be dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with bitterness. The other possibility is that the first person to enter the 4th level of the Tower of Yuzuan is that kid, and the second person to enter the 4th level is Yarrow Cheung. Hu Chong swept his gaze across the students and said in a deep voice, don't bite off more than you can chew. There is always someone better out there. Got it? After being reprimanded by Hu Chong, many students lowered their heads. At this point, they had no choice but to admit that Ning Yu was indeed capable. It was no wonder why Yarrow Cheung was so angry, forcing her to enter the Tower of Yuzuan with him. The students of Nebula Academy were reprimanded by Hu Qiong, but they didn't feel anything wrong with it. However, when these words entered Yang Song's ears, it caused his face to burn. It was a very uncomfortable feeling. No matter what, he was the Grand Elder of the Frost Metal Sect, a first-grade Earth Sovereign. Hu Qiong's cultivation was the same as his, but he dared to reprimand him. Damn it, I have to contact the sect master and get him to make a trip here personally. Yang Song's face was cold as he waved his sleeve, shattering a crystal ball. Crack. After the crystal ball shattered, a faint cold light drilled into the void and disappeared in an instant. You have to pay the price for killing someone from the Frost Metal Sect, even with the protection of Nebula Academy. Yang Song clenched his fists tightly, and an extremely cold expression appeared on his face. Rumble. The fourth level of the Tower of Yuzuan. Ning Yu was speechless as he looked at the soul silhouette before him. His luck was really good. On the third floor, he encountered a soul shadow, and on the fourth floor, he also encountered a soul shadow. Generally speaking, the soul silhouettes in the Tower of Yuzuan were the easiest to deal with. That's because the soul force of the cultivators that entered the Tower of Yuzuan wasn't weak. Even if their soul force was suppressed to the same level, they would still have battle experience. Under this condition, it wasn't too difficult to defeat a soul silhouette of the same level. With a wave of his wrist, Ningyu forced out a strand of soul force and blasted it at the soul silhouette before him. Crack. Under Ningyu's powerful attack, the soul silhouette didn't last long before it was devoured by Ningyu. The Tower of Yuzuan is indeed a good place to cultivate soul force. After devouring the soul silhouette, Ningyu didn't stop and directly entered the fifth level of the Tower of Yuzuan. On the fifth level, Ningyu's test wasn't to defeat the soul silhouette, but to refine a grade 5 elixir. Refining elixirs wasn't a problem for Ningyu. Since the Tower of Yuzuan had already prepared the ingredients, Ningyu only used 5 minutes to refine a grade 5 elixir. If it wasn't for Ningyu's pursuit of supreme grade elixirs, he would probably only need 2 to 3 minutes to refine it. The sixth level of the Tower of Yuzuan suddenly became more difficult. Not only did he have to refine a grade 6 elixir within the stipulated time, he also had to defeat 6 cultivators. 3 soul silhouettes, 3 cultivators formed from Yuan Qi. Without some skill, it would be hard to pass this level. Because the cultivators formed from Yuan Qi were all in the 6th grade human supreme realm, the probability of such a test appearing was very low. Even in his previous life, Ningyu didn't encounter many of them. It could be said that if Yarrow Qiong encountered such a test, she would also be defeated. Refining a grade 6 elixir wasn't a problem for Yarrow Qiong. Fighting with 3 soul silhouettes wasn't a problem for Yarrow Qiong either. Defeating 3 grade 6 human supreme realm cultivators wasn't a problem for Yarrow Qiong either. The only difficulty was doing all 3 at the same time, and within the stipulated time. According to Ningyu's estimation, in the entire Nebula Academy, there weren't more than 3 cultivators that could pass this test. Stipulated time, 3 minutes. A mechanical voice rang in the 6th level of the Tower of Yuzuan. Swish. Hearing the voice, Ningyu didn't say anything and immediately flew out, sat on the round table, and started refining elixirs. Now that things had come to this, Ningyu no longer pursued supreme grade elixirs. As long as he could refine a grade 6 elixir, even if it was a low grade one, it would be a victory. After all, he only had 3 minutes, and Ningyu couldn't afford to squander it. Swish, swish, swish. As Ningyu was refining elixirs, 3 soul silhouettes charged at Ningyu from 3 different directions. Go. With a thought, Ningyu split his soul force into 3 and fought with the 3 soul silhouettes. Swish, swish, swish. After the soul silhouettes attacked, the 3 grade 6 human supreme realm cultivators didn't stay idle either. They attacked Ningyu from another direction. For a moment, Ningyu was a little flustered. Chapter 1373. The other me. Outside the Tower of Yuezuan, everyone stared at the Tower of Yuezuan suspiciously. A moment later, a student said to Hu Qiong, "Elder Hu, the 5th and 6th levels have both lit up. Which level do you think Yarrow Qiong is on?" Swish. The student's words made everyone's gaze turn to Hu Chong. The fact that the 5th and 6th levels lit up at the same time meant that there were people on both levels. If not for Hu Chong's words, everyone would have assumed that Yarou Cheung was on the 6th level and Ning Yu was on the 5th. But now, no one dared to say anything. I don't know either. Taking a deep breath, Hu Chong slowly shook his head and said, based on Yarou Cheung's previous visits to the Tower of Ascension, it's impossible for her to be on any level. She can't be on either level? What do you mean? Yang Song was stunned for a moment before he shamelessly walked over and asked. When Yarou Cheung reached the 5th level of the Tower of Yuzuan a few times before, the fastest she used was an hour. Hu Chong explained, this time, when the 5th level lit up, only 40 minutes had passed. Time doesn't mean anything, right? Maybe Yarou Cheung's condition is very good today, Yang Song said. I can't rule out that possibility. Hu Chong didn't want to talk back to Yang Song. In fact, Hu Chong didn't say one thing. Grandmaster Xing Yun once said that the higher one's talent, the faster one could ascend the first 5 levels. Yarou Cheung's talent was fixed, and her limit was 40 minutes. In other words, if Yarou Cheung was on the 5th level, then Ning Yu was on the 6th level. What's his background? Why is his strength and talent so abnormal? Hu Chong took a deep breath and murmured, if he could join Nebula Academy, it would be great news for the Academy. Look, someone reached the 7th level. Suddenly, a student pointed at the pagoda and shouted. Following the direction of the student's palm, everyone noticed that the 7th level was shining brightly. Clearly, someone had reached the 7th level. The light on the 6th level hasn't been extinguished. Another student yelled. Everyone looked over and saw that the light on the 5th level had been extinguished, but the light on the 6th level hadn't. Everyone was well aware of this situation. Those who were originally on the 6th floor went to the 7th floor, while those who were on the 5th floor went to the 6th floor. The only uncertainty was whether Ning Yu or Yarou Cheung was on the 7th floor or the 6th floor. It must be Yarou Cheung on the 7th floor. I believe in her. The student who supported Yarou Cheung said. I don't think so. That brat isn't simple. After all, he's someone that even Elder Hu and the Great Elder of the Frost Metal Sect couldn't catch up to. Some students who were not afraid of death refuted. Isn't that obvious? Yarou Cheung is a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign with a late phase 8th grade soul force. Isn't it natural for her to easily ascend to the 7th level of the Yuzuan Pagoda? The student that supported Yarou Cheung sneered. Haha, that brat even dared to kill Baijan. Furthermore, he was able to exchange pointers with the Frost Metal Sect's Great Elder. I believe that the one on the 7th floor is definitely that brat. The students who supported Ning Yu argued. The students of Nebula Academy were instantly divided into 2 camps. One supported Yarou Cheung, while the other stood on Ning Yu's side. The student that supported Ning Yu even said to Hu Chong, Elder Hu, I feel that a peerless genius like that brat should join our Nebula Academy. That's right, we must attract him to Nebula Academy. As long as he joins Nebula Academy, Yarou Cheung will have a worthy opponent. She won't bully us anymore. The situation was very clear. The students that supported Ning Yu were often bullied by Yarou Cheung in Nebula Academy. Now that a heaven-defying genius that could contend against Yarou Cheung had appeared, everyone's thoughts were surprisingly unanimous. They wanted to recruit Ning Yu into Nebula Academy. Absolutely not. The student that supported Yarou Cheung said coldly, Nebula Academy's recruitment must go through a strict examination. Although that brat has some skills, he's still lacking if he wants to enter Nebula Academy. The people from the 2 camps looked like they were about to attack. Hu Chong was having a headache. In fact, he also wanted to recruit Ning Yu into Nebula Academy. However, now that the 2 camps were opposing each other, it was not good for him to express his support. Otherwise, it would not be easy for him to clean up the mess. Stop messing around. Watch first. Taking a deep breath, Hu Chong said in a clear voice, that brat and Yarou Cheung entered the Tower of Ascension this time. Grandmaster Xing Yun is watching. If you guys mess around here and Grandmaster Xing Yun sees you, you are destined to suffer. Swoosh. Hu Chong's words had a great effect. Grandmaster Xing Yun was watching. They were all students of Nebula Academy. If they were targeted by Grandmaster Xingyun, it would not be as simple as suffering. Although Grandmaster Xingyun was not the Dean of Nebula Academy, he was the founder of Nebula Academy. Nebula Academy was established less than 20 years ago. For it to be able to develop to this level, it was inseparable from Grandmaster Xingyun. Grandmaster Xingyun was a peak 9th grade alchemist. His alchemy level was already at the peak of the Sky Demon region. In the entire Dan Cheng continent, there were countless martial artists that had received Grandmaster Xingyun's favor. Otherwise, how could Nebula Academy become a transcendent existence in the Thousand Leaf Empire? In order to win over Grandmaster Xingyun, the current king of the Thousand Leaf Empire directly bestowed Nebula City to Grandmaster Xingyun. He will never join Nebula Academy. No one noticed that Yang Song's right hand was clenched so tightly that he did not even notice his fingernails digging into his flesh. Inform the sect master. Let him find a way to contact the higher-ups of Emperor Palace. We must put pressure on Nebula Academy. Yang Song crushed another crystal ball and told the Frost Metal Sect Master everything that had happened here in detail. Only by making preparations in advance could one be prepared. After the quarrel, everyone looked toward the 8th floor. Over the years, many martial artists had reached the 7th floor, but no one had ever reached the 8th floor. Could it be that the record would be broken today? The 7th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. Ning Yu did not know what was happening outside. He had already reached the 7th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. As long as he could advance one step further, he could reach the 8th floor. The 8th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda contained an ancient array that Ning Yu had left behind in his previous life. Once the array was activated, Ning Yu's soul force would rise from late-stage 8th grade to peak 8th grade. Apart from the increase in soul force, Ning Yu's physique would also be improved by the array. His strength might even rise to peak 7th grade or even 8th grade. Shaking his head, Ning Yu discarded the thoughts in his mind. Taking a step forward, Ning Yu asked in a deep voice, "What is the condition to enter the 8th floor?" Crack! As Ning Yu's words fell, the void in front of him suddenly split open. Soon after, a thin figure slowly walked out from the void. This is Chapter 1374. Undefeatable. Defeat me and you can enter the 8th floor. In midair, the thin figure said. Who are you? Ning Yu's expression was solemn as he asked. Who am I? The skinny figure smiled strangely and said, Am I not you? If you are me, then who am I? Ning Yu frowned. You are you, and I am you. With that, the thin figure disappeared like a ghost. In the next instant, the thin figure appeared in front of Ning Yu, his right hand clenched into a fist and punched at Ning Yu. Bang! At this critical moment, Ning Yu couldn't care less. He also clenched his right fist and punched out. The two fists collided, the huge impact causing Ning Yu and the thin figure to retreat at the same time. In this strike, both sides were evenly matched. You only have half an hour. After that move, the thin figure did not stop attacking. Instead, he clenched his fists and fought with Ning Yu again. Rumble. On the 7th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda, Ning Yu and the thin figure used their full strength. Ning Yu wanted to defeat the thin figure and enter the 8th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda, but the thin figure had to stall Ning Yu for half an hour. It should be another me cloned by the Yuzuan Pagoda. Ning Yu's expression was extremely solemn. In just a few moves, he had already determined the thin figure's strength. He was on par with him. It was to the extent that the thin cultivator could even execute the supreme 9 purities sword art and the netherworld samsara palm. This was a complete clone. Red Demon Sword. With a thought, Ning Yu took out the Red Demon Sword. The Red Demon Sword's grade was very high, and Ning Yu did not believe that the Yuzuan Pagoda could clone another Red Demon Sword. Fart. However, when the thin martial artist took out another Red Demon Sword, Ning Yu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What grade is the Yuzuan Pagoda? Emperor rank? Saint level? Ning Yu was extremely shocked. The fact that it could even clone the Red Demon Sword was enough to show how terrifying the Tower of the Supremacy of Yu was. Seeing that time was running out, Ning Yu's expression became more and more unsightly. Not only did the thin cultivator master all the martial techniques and magic treasures that Ningyu had mastered, but he even knew Ningyu's attack methods like the back of his hand. On several occasions, Ningyu was almost defeated by the thin martial artist. How do we fight this? Ningyu's eyes turned as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. Normal methods would not be able to defeat the thin martial artist. At this moment, he could only think of another way. It's useless. Whatever you know, I know. Whatever you don't, I know too. What do you have to fight me? The corners of the skinny cultivator's mouth curled into a sinister smile as he said, "Let me give you a piece of advice. Go back to where you came from. The 8th floor of the Ascension Tower is not a place you can touch." Whoosh. At this point, not only did Ningyu not get angry, he even calmed down. The test this time was the toughest he had ever faced. In his previous life, Ningyu had gone through many tests from the 7th floor to the 8th floor. It could be said that none of the previous tests could compare to this one. Defeat his other self? Moreover, it would be a battle experience, martial techniques, and weapons that were exactly the same as him. It was harder than ascending to the heavens. Since ancient times, how many people have defeated their other self? Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said solemnly, 3. The thin cultivator raised 3 fingers and said, "One is a pinnacle 9th grade human supreme, one is a pinnacle 9th grade earth supreme, and the last is..." At this point, the thin cultivator shook his head and said, "The 3rd cultivator to defeat himself has an extremely high cultivation. You might not be able to reach it in this lifetime. Since someone can defeat himself, I can definitely do it too." Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said coldly. As someone who had lived 2 lives, there was no reason for him to lose to those people. Good luck. The thin cultivator shrugged and said, "Fight me when you think of a way." The thin cultivator's task was to last for half an hour. If Ningyu had not defeated him in half an hour, then Ningyu would be declared to have lost. Therefore, the thin cultivator was not in a hurry to fight Ningyu. The one who was in a hurry was Ningyu. Right, use the law of space. Suddenly, Ningyu's heart stirred, and he summoned out spatial law. Law of space, don't waste your energy. I have it too. In midair, the thin cultivator saw the law of space floating in front of Ningyu and curled his lips. Then, he formed a hand seal and summoned a law of space. My law of space has developed its own consciousness. Ningyu shouted coldly. I'm sorry, my law of space has also developed its own consciousness. The thin cultivator smiled apologetically and said. Ningyu was speechless. How was he supposed to fight? You have everything I have, and you're even stronger than me. At this time, Ningyu admired those cultivators who could defeat him. Needless to say, every cultivator who could defeat him was definitely a genius among geniuses. Their future achievements were limitless. Tick. As time passed, Ningyu was thinking of a countermeasure. In the blink of an eye, 25 minutes passed. There are 5 minutes left. The thin cultivator kindly reminded Ningyu, if you don't have the confidence, you should leave as soon as possible. The next time you come to this floor, you might not meet me, and you might encounter a simple test condition. Leaving now is not my style. Ningyu did not intend to give up. With a thought, he began to contact the sapling. After 20 minutes of thinking, Ningyu basically guessed the way to defeat his other self. In terms of martial strength, there was no way to win, no matter who came. If he wanted to win, he had to rely on external forces. In other words, he had to have something that the Tower of Yuzuan could not clone, otherwise, even an Earth or Sky Supreme wouldn't be able to win. It was like lifting oneself up with pure strength. No one could do that. Sapling. Ningyu began to contact the sapling, asking it to come out and deal with his other self. What? Don't bother me if there's nothing else. The sapling's impatient voice reached Ningyu's ears. At this time, the sapling was studying the branch of the world that Empyrean 100 Flowers had given them. Originally, devouring the branch could raise its cultivation to the 3rd grade Earth Supreme level, but the sapling did not have the guts for the time being. For some reason, the sapling felt that there was something wrong with the branch, but it could not point out what was wrong. I need you to help me deal with someone at the 7th grade Human Supreme level. Ningyu said in a low voice. 7th grade human supreme level? I don't have the time. You should deal with a mere 7th grade human supreme level yourself. The sapling was furious. He was in a critical period, but Ningyu was asking for his help for such a small matter. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.